Dope Boy Diesel back in the Doja room here for another episode, and we gotta break down this Diddy trial. But I got a couple of topics to get to before we get to that because man, I I really gotta break down this day one for you guys. Like the shit was crazy from start to finish, from you know what I'm saying, from the outside to the inside. The shit was wild. Okay, I mean it was chaos everywhere. Niggas is fighting outside in lines to try to get in. I mean, we talking these people are camped out. We talking people is camped out 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning just to be like number 50 in line, my nigga. Okay? And it's only by the grace of God these last couple of times that you know what I'm saying, I've been able to holler at somebody who's, I know who's, slid in there, and that's fortunate for me and fortunate for you guys because if you're listeners to the Doge Room, then I get to indulge you and give you this exclusive content. Okay. So real quick, hit us with a like button, and hit us with a like in on YouTube and comment on YouTube as well. It helps us with the algorithm. So if you're listening live on YouTube, hop in with us and hit us with a like. Let me make sure we firing on all cylinders real quick. Y'all know how we gotta do for the lives, cause the lives be acting funny sometimes. Just gotta make sure. Okay, we cooking. All right. So again, to all my stoners, hippies, and hip hop enthusiasts, welcome to the Doja Room. I'm your boy Dope Boy Diesel. I hope you came in ready to roll up some of your finest. Some of your finest. Again, today I still got some of that cookie crumble that I'm smoking on today. So please kick your shoes off. If you're a nigga like me and you've been grinding through the night, you ain't got too much to do today or this morning until the night again, or you're off, you know what I'm saying? Roll one up, kick your feet off, chill, sit back. Welcome to the Doge Room. We're gonna spit these topics and maybe have a couple of people. If you guys want to jump in, all are welcome to hop in, jump in, and we're gonna get that started. But I want to get started in particular, on some of this Tory Lane stuff, which is very, very unfortunate. But yeah, we got to get to it anyway. So and I posted an article on this, so go ahead and check that out. Support the articles if you guys like to read or you want to get a quick read on X without hopping to the all these other pages and stuff like that. Or you want to read some articles and stay in the app, then it's a perfect place to come. But Tory Lanez was stabbed in prison, and this is just the angle that I took. I seen everybody was, just reporting on what was happening, but me immediately, I just feel like, it's that's kind of weird. The timing, the just randomness of it all. It's just kind of weird. Okay, it's just kind of weird, and I don't think that you could get any of the niggas, and when I say niggas, I mean niggas in literal terms and form, around him to do something like this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna run through some of this article real quick just to update you guys who aren't privy or whatever. But in the shocking turn of events, rapper Tory Lanez, currently serving a 10-year sentence in California North Kern State Prison, was reportedly stabbed earlier yesterday during an altercation with another inmate, according to sources close to the facility. The details are still developing, which we got a little bit more details, but what we know so far and what we know now is that Tory Lanez has been stabbed 14 times, okay? He was stabbed 14 times, which is crazy. So actually, I can jump into the follow-up of everything because I'm pretty sure everybody is, like I said, privy to what was going on. So as I said, he was stabbed 14 times in a violent attack that left both of his lungs collapsed. The breakdown of his attack is harrowing. Seven stab wounds to his back, four to his torso, two to the back of his head, and one to the left side of his face. It seems, when you hear that and you listen to that, it's almost like these niggas was trying to send some type of message, or somebody was trying to send some type of message, but they didn't get the job done. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It's just all too weird to me. Okay, it's just all too weird to me. I feel like, and why I immediately took the angle that I did, because I just feel like, what real reason do you have to fuck with Tory in there? And I know he's not doing nothing but, what I'm saying, uplifting, what I'm saying, putting people on, putting people in position, generally helping people out in a way that they could, never do otherwise. And I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. But what we got to realize is, it's a lot of things that we are overlooking. And of course, there's a lot of people out here celebrating this shit and, doing the weird shit. But there's a lot of shit that we're overlooking when it comes down to the weirdness of this whole trial, how it went down, and what continues to happen. You know what I'm saying? What continues to happen going forward. It's just like, I mean, you don't necessarily see things. I mean, you see it happen to black people, but you don't necessarily see things like happen on this scale to like a really rich and successful man. I don't know, unless this just the evidence is just overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? But as I've said it many times, and as we all know, that we went into this case, or we went out of this case asking more questions than we went into it with. And so, when it comes down to it, um, it's unfortunate that all of this had to happen, and it 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 really puts into question what is going to happen going forward. And I think I did cover this somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. But because I wanted to see what this means for his release. And like I put here, and it says, while while there's currently no confirmed link between this stabbing and any changes to his legal status, serious injuries like these, especially when paired with potential lapses in prison safety, can open new legal avenues for appeals or sentence reconciliations. So his lawyers may now argue that Tory is a high profile target, and that the state is failing to protect him. And if proven, this could lead to movement in his ongoing legal battle. So, for all the umbrellas, for all the Tory fans, for even the Drake fans that fuck with Tory, like me, this is the time to get in and support Tory, because, like I said, this could mean a significant change in his legal battle, and them reconsidering his sentence. So it's important for us to get behind him in this, and really try to push forward. Real quick, let me welcome my boy Kate Mills to the chat.
Yo,
What's
yo,
good,
yo,
my
can you
boy?
hear me? You can
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah.
I
Loud and
bet.
clear,
I'm
loud and clear.
loud and clear. I bet, bet, bet. Yeah, I'm stuck in the traffic. Shout out to my boy Diesel and everything out here in the it's this Tory thing, man. This Tory thing got me in my feelings a little bit,
It's
for
looking
real.
crazy, man.
It really
I'm
is.
sad to hear this shit happen. What you
I,
think
I,
about
I'm
this? What you got? What's your thoughts on it?
I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of feelings. But I'm gonna be try to be concise. First of all, am I surprised? No. I think that when you listen to Peterson, first of all, I just want a quick sidebar about Peterson.
Go
When
ahead.
I listened to that album, First, it gives you the skin crawling because it's like, bro, I never want to go to jail. Never want to do that. Like, I want to follow every law to the ever. I never want to be in jail. I won't survive. So anybody that's in jail that's surviving right now, shout out to you. Don't want to do that. But when I listened to the album, right, he spoke on this. He kind of alluded to him in many ways either being hurt or killed in jail. Um, I personally, with all the wicked deeds that happens in the music industry, his entire case, um, and what's going on, I'm not surprised that this happened to him. And I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm wishing bad on him or anything. I fuck with Tory. I think Tory is a revolutionist, along with Kanye West and Drake. Um, Drake being the third of that, being the third in that situation. Um, I just look when I look at this situation, I'm not surprised that it happened. I'm not putting it past. Like when you look again, I go back to Peterson because he put it in the music. In Peterson, he talked about how his lawyer was crooked. He can't trust his lawyer. He can't trust people around him. He can't trust. Obviously, he's independent, or he can't trust anybody. And then he's
Right.
in the worst jail in America. You understand? And so
Right.
it's like this was bound to happen. If you just got to listen to Peterson, and he's telling you what's gonna happen to him and why he is where he is. The story's in the music, right? And so for me, it's like, first of all, hope the brother pulls through. Um, I've dealt with a lot as an emergency as a trauma certified emergency nurse. I have dealt with a lot of prisoners. This is nothing to me. If he came into my hospital on my stretcher, it's clockwork. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm here also part of my, first of all, shout out to having me on the pod. Part of my goal here today as well is to address any medical questions, medical jargon that you may have, your listeners may have, and where we are with stuff with him, with that sense. But
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
with,
Go ahead.
with you saying that, let's just skip over to that because as I said, I had it pulled up now real quick. So
Yeah,
it's I'm gonna just go over it for the people just hopping in. It
yeah,
says in a shocking and deeply disturbing update, Tory Lane's official Instagram page confirmed that the rapper was stabbed 14 times in a violent attack that left both of his lungs collapsed. The breakdown of the attack is harrowing: 7 stab wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face. So he was placed on a breathing apparatus and miraculously is now breathing on his own, speaking normally, and is in good spirits despite the trauma. This is correct. Like that. Like, so with you be working in the ER, things like that, how often do you see attacks like this and people pull through? Let's just start there. How often
yeah.
is this like is this even a thing that you have somebody pull through out of like being stabbed 14 I mean, think, look how they attack. Like, this was a hit. This was
Yeah.
I'm trying to end you and make a statement about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to stab you in the mouth. I don't want you to sing again. I don't want you to rap again. This was a statement. So how many times, without getting too far into myself, how many times do you
Mm.
see an attack like this and you see people pull through?
So it's kind of like a two-part question, right? With the
Right.
two, so I'm gonna give you a two-part answer. So what what okay, so let's just take away the name and make him a patient, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he technically is what would be called either a trauma 2 or a trauma 1 patient. I believe he's a level 1 trauma designation patient. This is, in terms of I've dealt with 100, hundreds of prisoners that come in. And so the first part of it is, in my experience, when the prisoners come in, when they got cut, sliced up, or whatever it may be, it's usually because they didn't pay their taxes. in the jail. Nigga didn't give up the cigarette. Nigga didn't give up their cornbread. Or they, that's the currency in jail. According to I'm not a jail. I'm not gonna speak on. I've never been to jail, but according to some of the prisoners that I have spoken to, they was like, yeah, I
Nah,
got
that's how they
sliced
give it
up.
up.
Yeah,
Nigga, you can
that's
get
how they give
sliced
it
up
up.
for a honey bun. You can get sliced up
Right.
for a bag of ramen noodle. Yeah, yeah, that's how they give
Yeah,
it up. Yeah.
niggas can get, yeah. So usually, right? Usually they not trying to kill you. They just trying to make a statement like, I'm gonna cut you up. I told you I'm gonna cut you up, bro. Like, why you ain't pay the cornbread? You owe me like 3 cookies and a cornbread. Like, why you ain't do that? So I gotta,
On, be on
I
time.
gotta beat your ass. Yeah, you be on time. I gotta beat your ass. So I'm gonna stab you the fuck up. And usually it's like I'm gonna stab you the fuck up, but I'm not gonna kill you because niggas don't really want that on to add on their time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then usually the life niggas don't care. They'll do it, but whatever. But there's that, right? With Tory, you hit it on the noggin, because Tory, I don't even think that their goal was to really kill him. I think it was to enable him to shut his mouth because he's talking on that album, and he's so outspoken. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, you talking on the album, you exposing your dirty lawyer, you're exposing the industry, and then you're on top of that, you are filing for appeal. But let's keep it medical. One thing I don't understand, and it's the whole reporting on his condition is shady, because if your lungs collapse and you got stabbed in the torso,
Right.
that is what happens is, unless so a collapsed lung is called either a thorax, right? Pneumothorax or a hemothorax. A pneumothorax is when is when there is no blood causing the lung collapse, right? When your lung collapse, not to go too scientific, but if this will
Nah,
make
get
sense.
into it.
When your lung, inside everyone's lung right now, mine and yours, is what is called negative pressure, right? So any type of disequilibrium from that pressure, when it means to like leaving it to um, if it's like equal pressure, if it's like lower, it will collapse the lung. The lungs stay inflated in the pleural cavity, right? Via negative pressure. And that negative pressure is what, according to I think Bohr's law, I could be wrong, or the law of gases, is area of low pressure versus high pressure, which you take in oxygen and breathe off CO2, for in layman's terms, right? So two things can cause a thorax. Well, multiple things can cause a thorax: trauma. I think that one of the biggest things I saw when I was working in Syracuse was kids doing what you call it, the little dabs, doing dabs and having what is called a
Facts.
pneumothorax, causing the lung to collapse. Now, typically, when you have a trauma like him, and they say what you call it, his lung collapse. Well,
Yeah, when I read
the,
that, not to cut you off, but when I read that, I
yeah,
instantly was like, oh, he's dead. Like he's done.
yeah,
Like
no. And so let's clear that up. Let's clear that
Cause I'm like, bro,
up.
both lungs collapse. Like, how's he breathing?
Yeah,
Like what we talking
right.
about? Like he's done. Like you feel me? Like
So
no, I was
yeah,
scared for a minute. Like my heart
yeah,
literally dropped because I was like, nah, ain't no way this nigga is, and he ain't
right,
no way he's pulling through that. Like you know what I'm saying? So, but
right.
yeah, go ahead.
The number one treatment for that is to create a what is called a chest tube, right? So when I've had gang hits or cartel hits come in to the ED, what happens sometimes, the paramedics in the field can take a knife, and I think it's in the top, or I can't remember exactly which rib it is, but basically cut open the rib, through the rib, and insert what is called a makeshift chest tube to cause that to essentially restore
You like
that
relieving
negative
that
pressure.
prep? Okay, yeah, relieving that
Yeah,
pressure
to
out. Yeah,
restore
that's what I thought.
because we want to get back to negative pressure. We want that negative pressure inside the cavity. We
Exact, so it can inflate
when
right back up.
essentially, right, that along with supportive ventilation, whether bagging him with the BVM or they're just putting him on non-rebreather. Those things will keep him oxygenated and and keep him away from having a hypoxic event or having respiratory distress. You're basically in respiratory distress. Now with his case, with his case, the pneumothorax means no blood. That means that the lung got a trauma to the chest, and there's no blood or insanguination inside in the pleural cavity, causing the lung to collapse. So what is a so that's a pneumothorax. Pneumo mean like pneumonia, pneumo. So now there's something called a hemothorax, which that is blood. Hemo means blood. Thorax means inside the thorax, in the thoracic cavity, the rib cage. And
Right.
so now, when it comes to somebody stabbing the fuck out of me in my back, and in my back and in my chest, or my upper cavity area, right? I can now I have sanguination, blood flooding into the cavity, right, causing a disturbance in that pressure, and essentially pushing up and collapsing the lungs. And he had both them shits like that. So the emergency treatment, what will happen in the field is, okay, we're gonna give him ventilation, or we're gonna crack both them lungs, and we're gonna put a makeshift in the field, or depending on who picked them up, who answered the call, what kind of treatment they had on scene, would put a chest tube. What is it? It's called a chest tube, or what we like to call it, it's a chest tube, but we sometimes they call it an atrium,
Uh-huh.
or they call it yeah, it's a chest tube overall. It's a tube that goes into the pleural cavity and drains, and it's attached to what is a collection container called an atrium, and it drains the blood, or even sometimes there's pus in there, or that kind of
Right.
thing.
All
Will
types of
clear it
buildup.
out. Yeah, yeah, all type of buildup, and it will clear that out, and then the volume, and then essentially, along with obviously oxygenation, nasal cannula oxygenation, over time, as the lung drains out, the lungs get retained to reinflate, and have made and become equilibrium. Equilibrium is restored. So, but here's the problem: they're not reporting these things. What the report is telling me is that he had his lungs collapse, but yet he needed ventilation support. But now he's breathing on his own, and maybe there's a
Yeah.
HIPAA. Maybe
How is
there's
that possible?
right, and that's what I'm saying. It's possible, if in the event that he has a chest tube, he probably has two bilateral chest tubes draining. And a doctor could come on here and be like, no, 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 you're a good nurse, but you missed this, you missed that. That's fine. But this is what I know to be true, from what I've in my experience. So any doctors out there that want to chime in, message or whatever, go right ahead, correct me. I'm not what you call above correction, but this is what I understand with being the trauma nurse and TNCC certified, TCRN certified. Like, that's what I understand, how I understand how all of my traumas, multiple traumas, have been dealt with: gunshot wounds, and as well as multiple stab wounds and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's concerning. It's like, okay, does he definitely? If that's the case, in my opinion, he definitely has two bilateral chest tubes. And they probably be either or they could have intubated him and had a tube down his throat, and he was breathing on a ventilator, or you know what I'm saying. So that those specifics may not come out. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that they're saying he's talking, it tells me that you either it wasn't a full lung collapse, possibly. Maybe
Uh-huh.
there was just a small blood buildup in the pleural cavity that led to some type of hypoxic respiratory distress, or they actually popped his chest and put those chest tubes in, and they're draining along with ventilation support, and he's on oxygen, and he's talking and saying X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You know that
Okay. So
yeah.
all right. So I got two questions,
Yes.
and this is one after the other, but I'm gonna ask the first question.
Yeah,
So
man. Fire
you know,
away.
without knowing, let's take Tory Lane's name off of it,
Right.
and you just looking at this patient, and
Yeah.
without knowing how he is doing right now, and apparently he's talking and whatever, he's good, but this person rolls into the ER, and you see all of these things going on with them. What would you say the
Yeah.
percentage of them surviving, and what you guys could do for them, or what modern medicine and modern technology could do for them, what do you think is the percentage of them, averagely surviving something like this?
So, in the terms of like level one trauma versus level two trauma versus level three, level one trauma patients are the most sick people. Those are your like fucking, you got multiple compound fractures, you're bleeding. And, when it comes to the ER, we have what is called, we have the ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation. But what people don't understand, what we actually learn in trauma is that, or just in the ED, sometimes the C comes before airway, and people are like, "Oh, what the fuck?" What, or breathing, right? Because we have to make sure we stop the bleed. Yes, you can't breathe, but then by the end, yeah, we can make sure you make sure you're breathe. But if you're gushing blood and you're losing blood, then it doesn't even matter if you can't breathe, because you'll just die from hypovolemia, lack of circulation, and evidently, which leads to lack of oxygenation. So it really depends. With multiple stab wounds, I've had a patient that was stabbed 36 times and lived. Um, it really depends on the level of consciousness of the patient, which is called his GCS, the vitals, his blood pressure, and what we're seeing when we come in, how much blood we can give, etc. So this patient, in Tory Lane's case, if this was just, let's say patient, call him patient T. If patient T came in, my priority is to make sure that there's no bleeding. We do what is called a fast. The doctor would do a fast exam where he puts the ultrasound to see where the internal bleeding is. If there, and then he would be rushed to surgery, along with getting supportive care by the nurses and every team, in the sense of, we get the chest tube in, we're gonna drain the lung out as much as we can. We're gonna put the oxygen on him. We're gonna I'm gonna put two 18 or 16 or even 14 gauge IVs. If he needs pressors, we'll give him pressors to keep his blood pressure up. Fluids will be the first step. Then we order emergency blood, O negative. O negative gets squeezed as fast as possible in what is called mass transfusion protocol. That is a MT or MTPP protocol, along with what you call frozen plasma. He gets all of that to normalize hypovolemia and circulation. But the first line would be up to 3 liters of fluid, whether it be isotonic, well, LR, which is my favorite choice of fluid. And then we do that until the blood comes up to 3 liters. You can give sometimes 4 liters up to get. We did that till the blood comes. Once the blood comes, we stop fluids. We squeeze the blood as fast as possible. And it's all about where the patient is, the level of consciousness, the vitals, what emergency first responders did as far as establishing IV access. If it was the unresponsive, is the bleeding has been controlled, stopped. So if him being alive, and what happens is, remember, these are not like, these, what they have in jail is not real knives. They in jail, they have like
And
makeshift
shanks and
like
shit.
shit and
Yeah.
shanks and shit.
So it's
So
not gonna actually
yeah,
puncture the lung exactly how, even though
right,
we're looking at a stab wound to his lung or a collapsed lung. He may have had a
right.
punctured lung, but that internal bleeding might have caused it to, have those issues and stuff
Right.
like that.
And that's what
Uh,
I'm thinking is, it's
or
probably more of
probably
a
the
puncture.
most likely the back wounds, the 7 back wounds.
Right. And then the lungs live at the back too. So
Okay.
it's a matter of whether it me so collapses. When you say collapse, I'm thinking thorax, pneumothorax, hemothorax. That
Right.
means that my lungs are deflated, right? It could be like, hey, my lung, I got a punctured lung. That happens. You know what I'm saying? It's probably punctured, but it's not collapsed, because if he was collapsed, you got both. You're looking at a high level one trauma patient. You're intubating.
Right.
You're gonna intubate that patient with an ET tube. You're gonna first knock him out, paralyze him, and shove a tube down his throat and get ventilatory support. But what's also confusing is that he's breathing on his own. So was at some point, was he intubated
Well,
and was
that
needed? You know
that
what I'm
leads
saying?
to my follow-up question, which was,
Yeah.
basically what you're touching on a little bit. I'm gonna let you continue, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
basically leads to my follow-up question with, so is it possible that maybe, I don't, well, maybe not necessarily Tory Lanez, but is it possible that his team or the people around him might be hyping this up a little bit? You know what I'm saying? In order
Yeah.
to maybe garner favorability or sympathy for Tory Lanez? Is that
I I I
maybe a
I think it's
possibility?
too. I think it could be two, that two things could be true at the same time, right? So I think that on one end of it, he's up for appeal, right? He had filed for the appeal, and so what? So one end of it is like, let's amp it up, and this. So they probably said his lung was punctured. The MD, this is hypothetically, the MD probably said, his lung was punctured, but he's fine. Da 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 da. But they're saying, oh, it collapsed, and he's breathing on his own. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to make an appeal to the judge,
It makes
appeal
it a
to the
more
public,
miraculous story for his
right?
fans, and it makes a more
Well,
dramatic story
well
to for
keep it
for
keep
the appeal, right?
Right, but I think it's more not something about the fans. I think it's more so about. Remember, he was in one of the worst prisons in the country, and he said that in Peterson, and actually looked it up, and it's like a really shitty prison because in most prisons, I would like, at least in New York, I'll speak of New York. Usually, these hip hop artists are in protective custody. If you're gonna put in the prison that's about 25 or 30 minutes from where I live, they put Crips and Bloods in protective custody. And Bobby Shmurda was locked up in the prison where I was at. He was in protective custody as well. But this prison is so bad, according to from what I heard from Tory Lanez on Peterson, is that they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck who you are, what you about. You're gonna be. I don't believe he's in Gen Pop, but he should be in protective custody to a degree. So now, having said that, I think this will help him at least be transferred to a better prison, or have him transferred to a better situation within that prison that he's locked
You
up in.
think he'll definitely be transferred to another? Do you have
Oh
knowledge
yeah,
of if this usually happens?
oh yeah.
After
If
an incident like this happens, and
oh
they
yeah,
bring a prisoner to you. Okay.
oh yeah. I mean, to my understanding, I mean, like I said, never been in jail. Hope I never go. But it's to my understanding when I talk to prisoners, it's like, yeah, man, they're gonna put me in like the shoe, or they're gonna put me in protective custody because they. And like I said, I talk to my patients, so I ask questions. You know what I'm saying? So there's like, yeah, sometimes if they hear that you're about to get stabbed or get killed, they'll put you in
Right.
protective custody. You know what I'm saying? In another part of the jail. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
in this situation, his lawyers can make an appeal to the judge and say, hey man, like he's supposed to. And if he was in protective custody and this happened, you could say, hey man, like I want the appeal. We want to get him out. You know what I'm saying? We want to get him out, but we're also in the meantime, while you're fighting this appeal, like, can we put him in another jail? Can we transfer him, or can we put him in holding while during the appeal process? Or hey, can you set a bail for him? I'm assuming they can do this, a bail for him, so that what he can, while he's out, while he's fighting this appeal, because he's in danger, because his life is in
Yeah,
danger.
I kind
You know what
of
I'm
did some
saying?
research about that last night,
Yeah.
and I included it into the article, and I read a little bit right before you hopped in, but I'm gonna go over it again for the people who just hopping in. Welcome to the Doja Room. Please hit us with a like button. Let me just go into this real quick because this is exactly what you're touching on. But I said, and I questioned myself. I said, what this means for Tory Lane's release, and what this could mean for his legal battle. And basically, what I came up with is, while there's currently no confirmed link between this stabbing and any changes of his legal issues yet, or his status yet. Serious injuries like these, especially when paired with potential lapses in prison safety, can open new legal avenues for appeals or reconsideration. I'm sorry. His lawyers may now argue that Tory is a high-profile target and that the state is failing to protect him. So just like you said, so if proven,
Right.
this could lead to movement in his ongoing legal battle. So we can
Right.
see possibly, and why I said the fans, and why I said, maybe just with your knowledge and breakdown of it, maybe he is hyping it up a tad bit. Maybe he
Right.
is, trying to dramatize it a bit because
Right.
it galvanizes the fan base to say, "Oh
Yes.
hell nah, we gotta get Tory out of there." Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, first of all, we already think he's innocent. You know what I'm saying? And now he's in
Right.
there
Exactly.
battling for his life. He could have almost died. It's it's building to this mythos and this story. It's
Right.
almost making him stronger and better in a way. You know what I'm saying? Well, not better,
Right.
but it's making him almost, you know what I'm saying, this
Yeah.
cult figure. You know what I'm saying? Think about when Donald Trump got you know, the assassination attempt on him.
Right.
After that, we knew it was a done deal. Come on, we knew
Right.
after he survived that, like, bro, that nigga won. He
Right.
won. He won,
Yeah.
nigga.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the same type of vibe that I get from this, because it like, you know, hearing you say, like, well, you know, and like I said too, even when I heard two collapsed lungs, I'm like, well,
Right.
nigga, you know, I'm not as deep as you, but even being working in the healthcare field, I'm like, well, two collapsed lungs, like,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see niggas moving and still talking and shit with two collapsed lungs.
Right.
Fuck is you talking about? Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, yeah, what? So let's go to the next. Let's move on to the next, you know, conversation in this. What do you think this will do for his health and his music going forward? Will this affect his music? And just what you can think of medically, and you know, and what you know, will this
Right.
affect his singing, his rapping, his ability to, you know, anything like that? What do you think?
So before I answer that question, I felt I just remembered that I didn't give you the second part of the two things can be true at once,
Hold on, you cutting out a little bit.
right?
You cutting out a little bit. Start over.
So another angle of
Yeah, you still
this
cutting out you still cutting out a tad bit. Maybe
could
try to
be
maybe try to pop
that
maybe try to pop out and come back in. He's still yeah, he's still coming up. But yeah, like that's what I really, it makes you really wonder, you know what I'm saying? Like, does Tory Lane, like, you know, I understand that maybe he did have these things happen to him, and it is what it is. Like, it's a terrible thing. It's a real situation. But I do see the play here. I'm not mad at it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying, nigga? I would do the same. Oh my god. I got two collapsed lungs. That damn, my neck broken. Oh shit. Oh my god, damn, my knee too. Nigga got me in the knee, my spleen. I can't piss the same. Like, yeah. I'm doing all of that. I'm doing all of that. I am doing all of that. You feel me? Oh damn, I'm going out like 50. Yeah, I might never rap the same. Like, yeah, I said, like, you feel, I might have to.
the surgery didn't go well, infection, this,
Oh, you
that.
back now.
You
You
know what I'm
back now,
saying?
nigga. Oh, hold on. You went out for a second. I didn't even know you was still talking.
Oh, my bad. I'm on the road.
Yeah, you
Well,
just you
I don't
just
know.
now
Did you?
coming back in, so I was carrying the show. But what I was just, all I was saying was, like, yeah, I would do the same thing if I was Tory. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Right.
not mad at it. Like, you feel me? I would be like, goddamn, like, my spleen, my back. I might never walk the same. Like, you know, I'm never gonna be able to fuck the same. Like, yeah, I'm doing all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so
Yeah.
you was cutting out a little bit, so you're gonna have to start over for us.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I was just
Yeah.
carrying,
So
us through a little bit, go diving into that point a little bit more. But yeah, go ahead. Yo, yeah, you can go ahead. Oh, my boy cutting out. Yeah, but I don't know. That's just what I would do if I was Tory.
oh man, I'm reeking.
Oh, there you go.
Damn. Can you
Yeah,
hear
I
me
can
now,
hear you.
bro?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry. I'm on the road driving and shit.
Yeah, no
So
problem.
yeah, what I was gonna say was the other part of that two things can be true. They could be downplaying this to prevent to prevent an overreaction. You know what I'm saying? He could actually
Right.
be in a worse condition And we also have to come to grips as Tory fans in the city. We have to come to grips with the reality that he could die from these in his hospital stay. Um, stable vitals is one thing, but there's a possibility that he can die from infection. He can die from his body not responding. A lot of these inmates are very sick
God forbid,
because
knock on
they're
wood.
not yeah, God forbid, knock on wood, they're not in the best condition. I mean, he's not probably eating the best food. He looked healthy on
Yeah,
that
nutrition is
Peterson
not the best.
cover,
Yeah,
you know, and all of that. So we have to come to grips with that, that possibility that this is they're just downplaying it because the people that are reporting, remember, these are people that are reporting on are not medical professionals. And level one trauma patients, it's a long haul, and things can go wrong very quickly overnight. People could, his blood pressure can drop. He's got to go to surgery. He can have like all these things, that can happen. His lungs could deflate again. The tube can be dislodged. All manner of things, right?
yep.
So that's a reality that I want to just share with your viewers and your listeners. Having
Yeah,
said
facts.
that, when it comes to his ability to sing, it depends if he said he got stabbed in the face, right? Was he stabbed in the face or the throat?
I don't think he was stabbed in the throat. I think he was just stabbed in the mouth or something like that. Left side of his face.
So left side. And that's the thing. Was it a stab or is it a laceration?
Yeah,
Right?
and that
Because
could be
he got
anywhere. It
cut
didn't really say the mouth. It just said the left side of his face. So my boy
left
coming
side
out
of his
with that,
face.
but he probably gonna come out with a little buck 50.
Yeah, I think it was more of a cut because if he had got stabbed in the back of his head for real, he might be paralyzed. Um, he wouldn't be talking on his own and all these things.
Yeah,
So
it
it
was like
probably,
they was trying to like cripple the nigga. They was trying to make sure he can't sing and rap no more. Like it was like the
yeah,
areas of the body that they attacked. It was just like, okay, like I don't know about
yeah.
that one.
I,
It makes me
yeah.
think, like it. So far, the reports is that it was a Mexican, some type of Mexican gang member, nigga, some type of cartel nigga. I'm guessing. I don't know, but
Right.
I do have a wax breakdown of it and what what he believes and now also at first Flacco reported I had to call that out too. I'm sorry, but at first Flacco reported that niggas stabbed him because of what he said about Kendrick Lamar. Like, nigga, are you
The fuck?
stupid? Like,
Nobody gives a fuck about Kendrick Lamar.
stop
Like
playing with me. Like, I
this
said,
nigga,
yo,
I'm so tired of everybody trying to gaslight me that little midget man is no offense to the short people out there, but midget man is some hard gangster nigga that everybody should be afraid of, and he's some boogeyman. Get the fuck out of
stop
here.
it.
No,
Just stop it.
ain't no dyslexic nigga that could barely read and articulate himself or don't even speak well is some sophisticated smart motherfucker that poses. He's a good kid in a mad city. That's what he was. I don't care. I'm not saying he's pussy, but you're not gonna convince me he's some tough street nigga. That he's so tough that if you speak on his name, niggas is about to go to do a bid for him. Get the fuck up out of here, nigga. You ain't putting no work in your city, nigga. You don't even put money in your own city, nigga. Fuck out of here. Niggas is not putting no bids in for Kendrick Lamar. Niggas is not adding no time to they shit for Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
Get
I
the fuck
had to
out of
call
here.
that shit out. Like, bro, stop it. I like, bro, if you don't
Like,
got no proof of
stop,
that
stop.
one, yeah, I'm not believing that. Niggas is calling a media cap on that. But then he corroborated a wax story about the Mexican gangbanger who was the nigga who I guess stabbed him or whatever. So I'm gonna play some of this clip. I didn't get into it yet, so we're gonna be watching it live
Yeah,
here
yeah.
on Doja Room. So yeah, we'll break it down as we go. But let's see what they got to say.
What you want?
See, they stabbed my boy, huh?
Yerp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hit him 3 times. They killed him. Once in the face and chest. They hit him 3 times. They tried to get him. Messed him.
How you doing?
Dropout messed him too. He live alive. That motherfucking penitentiary gonna go up when them gates back though. I don't know what the fuck 1090 Jake was talking about. It couldn't have been nobody from another race. Nigga, when a stabbing happened from another race, they locked the prison down, nigga. That shit ain't gonna go off till they rack them doors. That's crazy. But he said somebody told me they flipped the yard, so like they brought like a whole nother prison on yard. Like literally. I ain't never experienced that type of shit. That's some new shit.
So let's just stop right there. So the if they would have flipped the yard, if they were to basically bring an entire different population onto the yard or whatever, like, is that a route to? Could that like be a avenue to send somebody in to make this happen?
That's what I'm confused about, because is he in Gen Pop or is he in protective custody the whole time?
I think
So
he's
I'm
in
saying,
Gen Pop.
because
He's with everybody. He's chilling. Like
which is
he's.
crazy, because he's a celebrity. You see what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I don't know. I don't necessarily know if he wanted to be in protective custody. I'm not.
Really? All right. So
I
I
don't
want to
know,
just
but
remember
I
that.
don't think.
If
I don't think we're gonna have
yeah,
to. We're gonna have to see about that one. But yeah,
It's
facts.
50-50 and PC shit they got going on. Like they had shut one yard down, one prison, take all the inmates, put them on a bus, send them to a whole nother prison, and just release them to the yard. That's some dangerous shit.
They said he was in critical condition. What's going on?
Yep.
Oh, they're large shit.
That's why I was trying to tell motherfuckers. They like, what we talking about? I'm like, I can only tell y'all what whack give us. I don't know.
So I've been ripping and running all day.
Yeah, I figured. But Anya had came in here and she reaching out to her people too. So Anya gonna come back in here
Who?
too. Anya,
Oh, man, he got stabbed by a messenger. He got stabbed 3 times in New York.
yeah.
They said it was a dropout messenger, so maybe somebody, I don't know what that's about. That's a little different. Maybe they,
That's what I'm saying. Like, so even Whack is confused. Like, all right, this is not normal. Like, this is not like, and this is what why I called immediate. Like, all right, this is not like. This seems like some setup shit. Like the timing.
yeah,
This is irregular. Now we hearing like they flipped the yard right before this shit happened. So you have these new prisoners. You don't know who they've been around, where they've been around, who they've been talking to, and they just come into this prison now, and I don't know, like they got to, for number one, they got to launch an investigation, which I'm pretty sure they already have, but it has to be on a larger scale. Like this shit can't continue to be swept under the rug, and like it's just too fishy if that's the truth. If that is what really happened, it's just too fishy. I
yeah,
don't know. Like like you can't just send in a bunch of prisoners who ain't been there, and even just from some regular shit. Like you got a bunch of new niggas in there who's trying to establish dominance, establish like you know their footing in the place, and you got a bunch of a whole other half of a prison who's like, oh, all right, you niggas is coming into our home. So even looking at it from a basic standpoint, like that is just stupid. Like that's just like you didn't know what was about to happen, like, or y'all didn't care, like, you know what I'm saying. And then on top of that, you got celebrities in here and shit like that. Maybe they just don't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying. And I don't know, but if he got stabbed out in the yard or some shit like that, and yeah, I don't know, that was that's some weird shit. It seemed like it was on some setup shit, because I don't think you get close enough to Tory and you just on some beef shit, you coming straight at him like, yeah, nah, it's not happening. I feel like you have to get close to him, play it off, try to, yeah, what's good, yeah, I'm a fan, and and then do your, you know what I'm saying, do what you had to do. You feel me? So I feel like that's how it went down. That's just personally to me. If it went down in the yard, I don't know how niggas wasn't close enough for him, but apparently it had to be some shit where, you know what I'm saying. I don't know, where niggas wasn't immediately in reach of Tory for him to get stabbed 14 times. Here, Wack is saying 3, but the official report so far has been 14. So just going off of
Right.
that, you know, I don't see how there's anybody in reach on top of that where he has that much time to get 14 of them things off. Like, you feel me? That just don't sound.
But
It
uh,
sounds like he was
but
isolated. It sounds like, you feel me? Like, I don't know.
so here's the thing too. This is why everything is so vague, and I think they have to be vague because of HIPAA. So it's like, remember I told you that if he got stabbed in the head, right? That means that the skull was penetrated, or at least the skin on the skull was penetrated, to a degree. So I'm thinking maybe not all of these quote unquote stab wounds are actually stab wounds. They could just be like, I sliced them a couple of spaces. I got to give them stitches here and here and here. And then, that's the thing, is just everything is so vague, and they have to do
So,
that
and
to a
you're talking
degree.
about basically the classification of a stab, of a
Yeah, a
stab
puncture
wound, I guess, or a
versus,
puncture.
yeah, versus a laceration where it cuts deep into the skin, into the dermis, epidermis, through the epidermis and dermis, and gets the surface bloods, the surface blood vessels and everything like that. But not necessarily essentially, like, I'm going past that, puncturing even further deeper into the body. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can definitely lose a lot of blood from getting buck 50, 250 to whatever it is. Like, don't get me wrong, but and I want to just clarify a couple of things as well for the listeners, right? So, because the report was like he's breathing on his own, right? Which, when I hear that, there's two things that I want everybody to understand. So there is something called, when you put somebody on a ventilator, that is mechanical ventilation, meaning that they are in desperate need of a machine to help them oxygenate and breathe, right? Or to breathe, to get
Right.
ventilation, right? And then subsequently oxygenation, right? And so when I hear he's breathing on his own, that doesn't mean he's up and talking and he's having a good time. It could mean that at this point, where he's has a tube down his throat, he's ventilated. The ventilator settings at this point could be changed to be assistive, or they have extubated him, and it's to the point where he's on a BiPAP, or he is ventilating on his own, where he can control his own breathing, and he doesn't need, he's either assisted breathing, or he's fully still on the ventilator, still intubated, and is just needs ventilation support versus full ventilation, like fully, like he has some ability, the body's responding to whatever treatment to help him breathe on his own,
Right.
right? Or it could be what they're saying. Like, there's no intubation, there was never intubation, but when you say he's breathing on his own, or are you saying at some point he was not? At some point he was intubated? You see what I'm saying? And
That's
then
what
there's
makes me think when I hear collapsed lung, that at some
right,
point you almost have to like resuscitate him, or like, you know what I'm saying.
right,
So I don't know what that meant. You know what I'm saying. That was like,
right.
okay.
It's definitely was in respiratory distress. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
or or no, fuck that. Distress is not. He was in some type of respiratory failure.
Mm.
Like, he cannot ventilate or oxygenate his lungs due to failure in ventilation. So it's like, in my head, it's like, okay, where are we? What is it? And and there's no specifics, and they can't, because, in fact, they probably breaking HIPAA just by saying these things. But I'm
Right.
sure that somebody, gave them permission to release some vague information.
Well, I
But yeah,
guess it
I
was
just
if it was released from his official page, then it's I guess can be taken as coming from him. So
right.
I guess that's the workaround. But
Yeah,
that's what
positive
makes
sign.
it even more, you know, well that's what makes it even more and make me think. I guess like he's trying to just dramatize it just a tad bit
Yeah,
to be like, all right,
but
well, I can be first on this. Can't nobody else say anything really. So let me put out what I want to say on this. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
but there was imaging, or there was a video, and maybe it was fake. I don't know, but a video of him being coming out of the helicopter. Let me tell you, when you get helicopter transport, you're a level one trauma.
okay,
Or sometimes you get ground transport too. But if they're flying you out, it's more than likely you are in a bad shape, and usually you're out, whether they knock you out because you're afraid of like heights or whatever it is, but you are usually in bad shape. Now, I didn't see if they had a tube down his throat or anything from when they were pulling him from the helicopter into the trauma bay. I gotta look at that. I gotta see if I gotta find that video and look at it again, because if he has a tube down his throat, then he was definitely either mechanic. He was definitely intubated, knocked out, sedated, and paralyzed. In order to do that, which is what we call rapid sequence intubation. That is RSI. They use meds to paralyze and sedate the patient so that they don't pull out the tube, because it's a really traumatic thing to have a tube down your throat.
okay,
Hope that nobody ever has to do that. You're in bad shape if you need that.
hell
You
yeah,
are in
that's what
bad
we
shape if you like. That means you cannot breathe on
basically
your own, and we
like
have
yeah
to.
have a machine
Yeah,
to
we have
use
to
to
like,
pump air into
or
you.
we have to
Just
bat, or we have to use what is called a BVM to actually, what is called bagging a patient. Like, in codes, you probably know about this. In codes, you would bag a patient until you can establish
a heartbeat.
yeah, not even a heartbeat. Just you bag the patient until you can establish and what you call it, a ET tube, which is an endotracheal tube, which is it's a tube, and even then you can get continuous support, and you get bagged when it attaches to the BVM. The BVM will attach to the tube in your throat, the endotracheal tube, and you can bag from there. And then if that subsequently, if you need further that you cannot breathe on your own, and this is all happening while your chest is being cracked for the chest tube, in the event that he had a hemothorax in either one or both of his lungs, right? Or a pneumothorax, whether it be, if he had a pneumothorax, that's the better one, because the lung will just, the pressure was off. The pressure just needs to normalize, so his lungs can inflate. That's the better of the two. Versus a hemothorax, we got to stop the bleeding, figure out where it's coming from. Then, in addition to all of that, from drain the blood, and then in addition to give him mechanical support and breathing. So it's very vague. We don't know a lot. Now, a lot of this is speculation.
Right.
Then going into segueing back into your question about what does this mean for him? Well, if his vocal cords were not damaged, or any of he could see a speech language therapist in the event. Like, you see, like, Kanye West had the wired jaw, and
Right.
it did alter the way he speaks in hip
Yeah,
hop,
because
and
we don't know
the way he
what
does
that
hip hop.
face wound really is. So or how
Right? Is
it's
it
really
is there
gonna
a
affect him.
fracture? Right, and then it's a dirt, and then to what end is he? What's his blood levels look like? What's his CBC? What does his complete blood count look like? And within that, what is his white count? Is he getting antibiotic? I'm sure he's getting a tetanus shot off rip, and he's getting some type of prophylactic IV antibiotics to fight off any type of possible dirtiness that would happen, or any type that comes from those shivs. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things going on with him. He probably has multiple IVs placed in multiple areas. Does To what end did his blood pressure normalized? Did they put him on vasopressors? We don't, all these things we don't know. But these are the
Right.
typical things that happens with patients. We have level one trauma. We're stopping bleeds. We're stopping bleeds. We're pushing pressors. We're trying to normalize and get back to get the body back to a hemostatic environment, stabilize them, and at that point we either go to surgery. Did he go to surgery? These are all things that we don't know. We don't know. right? So was there, or was any type of if he wasn't in surgery, then that if there was no surgery, that if somebody comes and says no surgery was done on Tory Lanez, that gives me resolve in saying that okay, this was bad, but it wasn't terrible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because usually,
Facts.
if you got to go to surgery, that means they got to stop. They got to stop the bleed. They got to do this. They got to blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? But, that gives me reassurance. I've never had a patient that was a prisoner that came in with stab wounds that needed surgery. Usually, everything could be done bedside with by an experienced trauma surgeon or experienced ED trauma doctor that specializes in stitching and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, and
If
it's
he did
typically
need
like I was.
surgery, that's something that would have probably been done overnight already, most
Yeah,
likely, right? And we haven't had
right.
any updates, I don't think, since that Instagram post. So if he did need surgery or not, I, we won't know until I guess they tell us.
Yeah,
But yeah,
right.
because that could have happened already, and we won't even know. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the crazy shit.
Yeah, yeah. He's
So
definitely in the ICU. He's definitely in the ICU, in the surgical trauma ICU, like ICU. If he's at a level one trauma hospital, they have like multiple ICUs. So if he, depending on if he's like in a surgical ICU, which is also called the SICU, surgical ICU versus medicine ICU, which medicine ICU is less, usually less. It's an ICU, but it's more of like, okay, you need medical treatment, you need like, you need like vasopressors, you need fluids, antibiotics, or something like that. You're not getting you didn't have surgery, and you need all these surgical drains to be managed or anything like that. But but all those things you don't really know because of HIPAA. You got to be careful. But whatever he chooses to disclose to his publicist or whoever, we'll find out in more days coming. I think a lot of these things happen rapidly over hours. I don't know when the actual incident happened, but
yeah,
it is. And also, being alive, when people say alive, it just means that the man has a pulse.
yeah,
It doesn't mean that alive and well. Like when we get ROSC after a code, it's quality of the, yes, we have a heartbeat, and you can say your last goodbyes to your family member, but at that point you have to say, okay, well, multiple organ failure has kicked in. He has a pulse because we got a bunch of epinephrine pumping into your body, but it's usually like, oh, quality of life is pretty shot.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So these are all the realities that we do. Like I said, I tell people I work with the Reaper. These are things that I've had a lot of deaths. I've seen a lot of deaths during COVID. I've done this, in the last 5 years.
Facts.
But I just think we should be cautiously optimistic moving forward about his condition. What this does legally for him is, I think, is if it's not as bad, I think this will help him. But I want to segue. I want to go back into what you were trying to get into about the whole yard and Gen Pop. And it's my
Yeah, being
understanding.
Gen
Like
Pop.
I said,
Yeah.
I don't work. Yeah, like if he said that he wants to be in Gen Pop, then this segues into something that I wanted to talk about. But I'm gonna let you lead on that one, and I'm gonna just come in with my take on it. You know what I'm saying? Because if that's really him trying to be tough out here, it's like, bro, why? Like, you know what I mean? But I will get to that in a minute.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I don't necessarily, like I said. I mean, I pretty much said what I had to say on it. It's just like it seems like he was isolated. It seems like he, was put in this position where he would be set up to meet this person or be isolated with this person, which is not uncommon in the prison system. And for, like I said, for this person to get 14 stabs off, and there wasn't none of the homies around him, nothing like that, and it seems like kind of a little bit like a setup. So I just
Right.
feel like
And who's to say that it wasn't set? I mean, this is hypotheticals. This is just it wasn't set up by him himself. To get out of jail. Sometimes you got to do some shady
that's
shit
a
with a
hell
shady
of a way to
business team.
set yourself up, man. I
Yeah,
probably would have
but at
found
the
a
same,
different way. Except
but here's the thing. Here's the thing,
I would
right?
have
We
maybe
say he's
told
let's
told the CEO to whip my ass and said, "Look, hey, Look, you
Nah, but
take
that
this
wouldn't have been
50
good enough.
thou, come whip my ass. Just say, all right, but the stabbing me, oh man.
But remember, we said he's in good condition and all these things. If he's truly in good condition, and maybe it was like, hey, don't stab me in places where, make it, that it looks a certain way, but not lethal. You know what I'm saying? Anything is possible in this music industry, in this game. You know what I'm
Like I
saying?
said,
And
it gets
you know
weird.
what I'm
It gets
saying?
weirder at that level. It gets weirder at that level,
Right,
bro.
right.
And
You know what I'm
the
saying?
things
And
people
sometimes
do
you,
on a day basis, I'm telling you, it's crazy.
right, you never know. You know what I'm saying? So, where I'm coming from is, and where act hit the nail for me, or what resonated with me, and I think a lot of these youth, we really got to talk to the youth. You know what I'm saying? Because jail is not fun. It's not something to be played with. Your freedom and your livelihood is never anything that you should ever. You only have one life to live in this world, and I'm talking. This is just me coming from the ER, seeing people die, seeing families broken up, seeing these shit. I have a personal appreciation for life and freedom. You know what I'm saying? And these young kids, man, they don't know that there's another way, and that life is important. Freedom is important. The streets do not care. The streets do not care about you being a snitch. Okay? The streets do not care about any of the shit that you trying to. The streets will eat you and chew you up and then never forget about you. The streets, when you come out of jail, is not gonna save you. No one's putting nobody from the streets is putting money on your books. Maybe your homies or something like that, whatever. Maybe to the youth listening, listen to your parents and go to school. Listen to your parents and go to school,
No,
because
that's a fact though.
when the bars close behind you, okay, look at what was that, TK? He's never getting out of jail. His life is done. There ain't no guns in jail, y'all YNs. Ain't no guns in jail. And half y'all, like Charleston White said, half y'all little niggas can't fight. Cause y'all ready to pick up the switch. And you gonna learn to fight. You gonna learn how to fight in jail.
You
Shout
gonna
out to
learn how to
Aaron the
fight and
plumber.
learn how to toot that ass up.
Right. Shout out to Aaron the plumber
Learn
that's
how
trying
to
to
fight
get.
or toot that ass up, nigga.
Right. Cause niggas is really gonna see what you really about that gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Aaron the plumber for trying to bring back kids just shooting the fade. Shoot the fade, my nigga. Put the gun down. Shoot the fade. You win, you lose. You earn your respect. Shooting like a bitch, nigga. Running. To me, shooting is pussy. Cause that's the easy way out. I'm just gonna clap this nigga. No, go shoot your fade and shoot your fade again until you win. Wounds, you could put ice on your face. You can, and even shooting the fade can get you in jail. Cause that's an assault charge. You see what I'm saying? But black people in our culture, we
I never
handle
lost
we
a
handle things
fade,
a
so
little different.
I don't know what these niggas be feeling like because I never lost a fade. But you know what I mean?
You know what I'm
If
saying?
you do, if to them niggas that did, it's like they pride is hurt. They can't take it. You know what I'm saying? There's something about them.
Nigga,
They gotta get one
listen,
up in the worst way.
if I lose a fade, I don't give a fuck about winning and losing a fade. But you gonna respect me, nigga. You can say, oh, I knocked that nigga. All right, so do it again. Let's do it. Let's run it again. You don't want to run it again? Shut the fuck up. Game 2, nigga. It's best of 7, nigga. What's up? Feel me? I guarantee I guarantee you're not gonna want to fight me 7 times in a series, nigga. You're not. I don't care how big you are, and I guarantee you're not gonna leave unscathed. You know what I'm saying?
This shit went from college to the streets real quick.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I'm all about shooting the fade, or I'm really about just being able to show restraint. Like I don't care. Nothing in this life. You want to be, oh, you pussy. All right, whatever, nigga. Okay. All right. Touch me and it's on.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
You know what I'm
That's
saying? You
all
could
this
talk all
is.
that shit from your phone. You could talk all that shit, whatever. Well, I'll fuck you up. I might not get touch me. See, test your theory, test your hypothesis. Go
But
ahead.
a lot of niggas, like I said, a lot of niggas are you know, they want to live a lifestyle, first of all, that they believe is going to get them money and women and popularity, and with that they feel like a gun, and you know, so it's a lot of things that, you know, it's a lot of things that come with that, and to unpack with that. But I mean, you really gotta, it really just comes down to, like you said, getting these kids back in. That's why I said, I mean, I used to box. That's why I stopped.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? That's why when it come down to, like, me coming and being bullied when I, you know what I'm saying, first, like, was a kid and stuff like that, and you know what I'm saying, I would turn shit down, and I'm like, you know what I'm saying, I mean, I will always turn up, don't get me wrong,
right,
but when it's a pile on, it's like after a certain point, all you gotta do is learn to wild the fuck out, and I think that's the type of nigga that Tory was. You know what I'm saying? But it's
right.
just, it
But
just
my
more,
thing,
it just more
here's my
so
thing with
seemed like a setup.
here's my thing with Tory, and Axe said the same. Axe said the same thing, and I'm gonna support DJ Academics in this. My nigga, you a grown ass man, bro. And I love Tory. I don't get mad. You know what I mean? And this is the problem, and I'm seeing it with a lot of these artists. It's like, bro, which a man cannot walk two paths. I'm gonna say it again. A man cannot walk two paths. Okay? You're either a gangster or you're an artist. You can't have it both. You can't do both.
If you can't
And
be in the streets and still try to
but you,
rap and
but
shit
not
like
even,
that, like, you know
but
what I'm
not even that,
saying? Like,
bro. But nobody
it's
can
not
tell
gonna
me.
work.
And my thing is, if people I mean, people can say, nah, Mills, nah, K Mills, that nigga is still active in the streets. And if you is, my nigga, then you stupid for that. You okay? You can't be a revolutionary and still be hood. It's just it doesn't work, bro. A man cannot walk two paths. Either you're gonna walk the path of I'm gonna represent my city as a revolutionary in the music industry. I'm gonna promote independence. I'm gonna crack the code. Right? Or you want to be a gangster. You can't have it both ways. You just can't. And the biggest thing with hip hop, you know why hip hop is taking a turn for the worse and why it's dying, is because hip hop and these old heads like Whack and all these old guard niggas think that, and same thing with this whole Kendrick shit. They attach street culture to hip hop, and it did come from that. But what's happening now is that the youth is like, yo, we trying to do Bitcoin. We ain't really trying to be in the streets. Only dumb hood white kids that are doing is picking up guns and killing each other. All the other Gen Z kids are on to some other shit. They don't want to hear about bang bang, shot, kill. Right? Nobody wants to hear that shit because nobody really. It comes to a point where it's like, all right, really? That's all y'all can rap
I
about,
ain't gonna hold you. I do love me just a little bit of K Flock. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna.
right? But
But
look at
yeah,
K
like
Flock is locked up too.
like the music is gravitating to another place other than what it's been to the last, what,
Drill
40
music.
years. The drill music, the heavy, you know, beefing, killing. It's moving away from the streets right now, and it's
Yeah,
going into a different phase. You know, we're going into a different phase of hip hop.
and
That's
that's
why
why
the
they
streets
saying
and Gunna and people like that can thrive, and you know what I'm saying.
same same thing with 6ix9ine. Right? Is it that's 6ix9ine? Is it what's
Yeah,
that dude? The rainbow hair color
yeah,
motherfucker. Now
six nine.
you know 6ix9ine. He was saying what, you know, everybody, oh, he a rat, but he exposed everybody that was rats. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like even what's the dude that they said that killed Tupac? Uh he's in jail right now. Fucking, he been in jail for years. I mean, his name escapes me. Some big brolic nigga. He was in the NWA and all that shit. Whatever his name is, Shook Knight. Shook Knight was saying half these niggas be capping. They be copping pleads. They be lying. They be ratting. People be ratting on each other. And look, Snoop Dogg, he exposed Snoop Dogg to be a rat, all that. Because as it comes to a point, man, where you have it's bigger than the streets. So who are you serving? If you when it comes to Tory Lanez, I would ask him as a man, who are you serving? Are you serving your children? Because you're a black father, okay? Are you serving your children? Are you serving your city? Because at the end of the day, your fans are the ones that's gonna rock with you, not the fucking streets, my nigga. The streets do not give a fuck about Tory Lanez, nigga. They do not fucking care. And I'm getting passionate about this shit because niggas need to know the fucking streets, there is nothing there for you. Whatever you had to do, whatever shady shit that you had to do to get that money to get in the studio so niggas can hear Tory Lanez, now you made, nigga. You don't owe that. You don't owe the streets nothing. You paid your debt, my nigga. All these other niggas like Snoop and all, they paid their debt. They don't owe the streets nothing. The streets is controlled by the cartels and the YNs now. So who the fuck, who are you flexing for? Who's gonna walk up to Tory Lanez and say, you pussy, all right, broke nigga, get the fuck out of my face? You see what I'm saying? You broke, nigga, you hungry, nigga. That's why you here trying to rob me, my nigga. You hungry, you broke. Here, take the chain, nigga, I'll buy another one tomorrow, nigga. No, I'm just saying in general. Like if some street nigga like, you a rat, my nigga. Nigga, shut the fuck up before I get my security guard to stomp your face in, my nigga. Like, are you trying to tough for when you a millionaire? That's what I'm trying to question. You dropped an album and sold 1 million units in a minute, bro. You have power and influence. You know who the real gangsters is? The billionaires, nigga. Jay-Z is a gangster. I don't like the nigga. He's a gangster, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Niggas that make the industry, the niggas that Lucy and Grange is a gangster, nigga. All right?
They control everything.
All y'all niggas that's, Kanye West is a fucking gangster, my nigga. These niggas is the ones that moved over. Elon Musk, gangster. Trump, gangster. All our politicians, gangster. All these people that own the food industry, them niggas is gangster. Y'all thinking y'all tough? Y'all the ones, y'all are scavengers. You are scavengers. The streets ain't nothing but pavement, my nigga.
We gotta understand the bigger scheme of things, but I don't know. It be taking people a long minute to realize stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know when we are gonna get to that page, but even when I be in spaces where that's the topic and that's the object of discussion, and it seems like even when black people come together, they can't necessarily get that all together. But I do want to hop on to this Diddy stuff because I do want to stick to true to the title because we got a little bit to break down about that as well.
Yep.
And just like I said, I did get some reports. I do got some homies in the towns who've been doing their due diligence and going out there, standing online. They popping out at 2:00 in the morning, 2:30, 4:00 in the morning on one day. Like they out there, okay, and everybody else is out there. So,
can I just sorry, real quick. Can I just get I want to just land my plane real quick because I kind of got a little bit, but I just need a minute. That's all I need. 60 seconds. So to Tory Lanez, right? And what I'm saying is, with Tory Lanez, if I'm his father, I'm talking to him like, son, listen, when you get out of here, leave this street shit alone. And there's nothing wrong with snitching, bro. Is the lack of snitching or the lack that we do in our community is part of the reasons why we still have these things going on in our community. We need to stop as black people praising the trauma that we are existing and saying that that's okay and that's part of the culture. And Kendrick Lamar is disgusting, and anybody that's like saying that you're not culturally black because it's attached to some trauma and struggle. It's like, bro, he's not tough. He's traumatized. This person is not tough. They're traumatized, and we need to stop praising it. So shame on Tyler Perry. Shame on anybody that essentially praises black trauma to monetize it, bro, I don't, I'll tell you right now, I don't watch no black movies that doesn't show black excellence from start to finish or have any hints of slavery, segregation, any hints of, oh, virtue signaling. You know what I'm saying? I don't watch none of that shit because I'm only going to support movies like Black Panther, showing excellence, showing black people, showing the black people that went to class. Shout out to Drake because he went to class, okay? And he's that nerdy. Oh, he's not from the culture because he ain't street. Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, like that's where I'm at. So if I'm Tory Lanez, you have a child, you're a black father, you are a revolutionary in this industry. You're fuck the streets, okay? Tell the truth. Who shot that bitch? You know who did it. Talk the truth. Ain't nobody gonna stop rocking with Tory because half of Tory's fans ain't street niggas. It's real people like me and you. So Tory, if you're listening to this, brother, one, I hope you're all right. Get better, and I hope you use this as a you if you win your appeal and you out. This is a what you call a eye popping moment, a come to Jesus moment. If God spares your life, it's to put away this street shit. You can represent the six without being a hood nigga. You can represent the six with being a business professional. Tighten your tie, my nigga. Put on a suit and handle your business. That way. Ain't nobody gonna look at him. Ain't nobody. And anybody, and let me tell y'all, fuck y'all street niggas that's gonna say, oh, he a rap. Fuck y'all street niggas. Y'all niggas is scavenger. I'm on some Kanye West shit. Fuck y'all street niggas. Y'all ain't shit, and none of y'all ain't on nothing. If you gonna tell me that Tory Lanez is a rat, or even fucking Gunna, anybody that's a rat, you got one life to live, nigga. You got one life to live. Fuck anybody out here playing. Fuck all that shit. The cartels run the street anyway. But that's my final word on that. Go, brother. Thank you, fool. Thank you for letting me tweak on this. Let's talk about that Diddy shit. So I'm interested.
Let's talk about that Diddy. Hey, pause.
Hey, yo, pause. With the baby oil.
Oh, there's a lot of baby oil indeed that was included in yesterday's opening statements and all that good shit. So real quick, just to reset everything, and that was our little recap on the situation going on with Tory Lanez. We'll keep you guys updated on everything going on with that. I am posting consistent articles, as you guys can see. I see you guys tapping in, so please like that, repost it, and we're going to continue to spread the word, and hopefully, as we said, that can be something to speed this acquittal out and get him out of here. So I'm trying to see that happen. So moving on to the Diddy stuff, because as I said, I have people who went in, who got in, and as I said, these guys was out there 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, standing on line, waiting to get into trial, and I'm telling you, this shit is getting crazier and crazier by the day. I'm almost surprised niggas don't see a full-on fight happening. You know what I'm saying? Just niggas throwing bows. My source over there they did say that they seen Jaguar Wright pop out, but I don't think they necessarily seen her go into court. At face value, real quick, I mean, what do you guys think? Before I get into it, and just go over opening statements and what was said as I got my notes. What do you guys think is is going on with Diddy and how it looks for Diddy going into this? I see you K Dub in the cut. You know what I'm saying? I see you just popped in.
Oh, shout out to DJ K Dub. Oh, you want me to talk on that, bro?
Yeah, no, just like I said, what's your opening thoughts before I get into the opening statements that were said? What do you think? What's your perception of Diddy's likelihood of coming out of this?
So I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know much about. I haven't really been following it because I've been entrenched in Drake shit. and Kanye stuff. But here's my here's my here's my feeling about the situation without knowing a lot of the minute details or the specific details of what's happened and whether my perception of Diddy, again, he a real gangster, he a billionaire, right? He got the power, he got the juice type shit, you know what I'm saying? He got the power to do things. Now there was some report that he had golden showers. And
Yeah.
he's some,
So
I mean, right?
okay, so we gonna get into that cause look,
uh,
I'm going to break it down to you
yes.
as it was given to me, and I am going
Uh-huh.
to try to be as detailed as possible as to what everything that was said to me and like as you know
Right.
everything that they heard sitting down.
Uh,
So
so go ahead, go ahead.
just walking into this, right? Just walking into this. Obviously, Diddy's kids are there. Everybody's there, and you know Diddy's there. He's dressed down in his you know his little black sweater, or gray sweater, dark gray sweater, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, the energy between him and his kids, as it was noted to me, is unchanged. Okay, they said that they could see, you know, Diddy and his kids giving each other, like he kind of came out, gave you know his kids the you know the hard hands, and you know they were laughing, they were kind of joking around a little bit, you know, they seemed to be in genuinely good spirits and you know somewhat confident about what was going on, you know, and going into this, right? So you have that, and then you have opening statements where you know basically, and I believe it's a bunch of white women that are the prosecutors, but
Oh,
you
of
have
course.
as it was told to me, I think that was noted. I didn't write that down, but I think that was noted to me. But it's mainly a white woman, if I'm not mistaken, leading this, and you know her basically her opening statements was, "Hey, Diddy is a monster. You know, in this trial, you're going to hear about how, you know, he beat Cassie, he stepped on her face. There's been instances where, you know, she tried to run from him and he was just kicking down doors. I'm talking kicking down multiple doors, kicking down the laundry room door, the bathroom door, this door, that door, room door, everywhere she went. I mean, there's stories, of course, that you know she said we're gonna hear and see, which oh god, I'm almost mad. Not like that, but it's like they're actually, and I don't know. Okay, I do know why they're not going to show everything. I do know why they're not going to show everything. But why I say pause, no Diddy, why I want to fake see the videos, because I want to see the celebrities, if there are some, like what was reported. What celebrities are in this video? So, what I learned from this, what you know, basically, is there was a little bit of misconception, at least going, you know, so far on what we got about how Diddy handles things. But as I said, the opening statements of the lady, she said, you know, Diddy's a monster. He's this, he's that, and you know, he's a person that needs to be locked away, and you throw away the key. You know what I'm saying? And we all know that he's basically facing a RICO. He was quote unquote sex trafficking Cassie, and she hit us with in that opening statement with the big zinger that came out of that whole thing was Cassie getting pissed in, you know, choking on piss, basically choking on urine. Okay, so So, a interesting thing that was noted to me, and maybe you can just chime in on this real quick. An interesting thing that was noted to me, and it was said that they, went through this on Friday, and I'm gonna tie this into when I'm breaking things down, uh, down the line. But what was noted on Friday was they weren't allowed to talk about Cassie's medical history or any type of health history, some things like that. What does that immediately tell you? Like, what do you when going into this trial? You know what we're talking about, right? And
Um,
I'm
I,
just going into this blindly, and I'm about to break this down for you, right? But just hearing that blindly, you're a registered nurse. It's like, what do you get from that?
right. So it could just be like I said, it could be something with in regards to HIPAA. Because the minute, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me, brother?
yeah, I can
All
hear
right.
you.
Cause I'm driving through the mountains and shit.
Yeah,
So when it comes to HIPAA, right, she would have to sign some type of release or give uh in terms of discovery, she would have to open up all of her medical history. And it could be something where it doesn't mean that she's like lying or anything like that, but you have to be circumspect with doing that and opening up your history. And remember, what lawyers do, they lie, right? But they say it's lie, but it's not really lying. Yeah,
they
it's a
they
form of
build
lying. It's creating,
narratives.
yeah,
Yeah, they
they
build
build
narratives
narratives,
and create
right?
narratives for
So
stories.
it could it could be something um where
You
they
don't
would
want
look
it to
into
be
all of her medical.
misconstrued.
Well, no, it could where she could be where she can be it can be used against her with as far as the oppositional arguments. Because once you sign that release and you say I'm going to open this information for discovery for either side, both sides could look at that. Is going to look at that becomes evidence that is submitted to into the trial, and
Both set into
both
discovery.
sides
Yeah.
will be right. So remember, it's about spinning a narrative. So it could be like, oh, well, they will. At that point, you're inviting medical experts. You're inviting all these things that could analyze and make spin a narrative. Oh well, if he slapped you and he broke anything or whatever, where was you? Did you not get any treatment? Okay, did you get an X-ray recently? Let's look at the
That can also be used that way
X-ray.
too.
Let's look at the MRI. If she said,
Okay.
you see what I'm saying? If you suffered if he beat you so badly, well, let's. I mean, because if somebody gets beat badly, I've seen some women. I've been to battered women's shelters, and I'm not making a case. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Say that it's not Jesse Ventura. I've seen domestic violence. I've seen women. My sister. Shout out to you, sis. I love you. Was part of that. Was part of a domestic abuse. I've seen women like who really have been beat the shit, get their ass beat, right? Missing
Right.
their front tooths and everything and all that. So there is gonna be, once you sign that release, now it's gonna be like, okay, now let me look at all these medical records from the time that you were with Diddy, and from the time, you can't tell me you never been to an OGBYN, you never been, women I always have to go get their pap smears. So you can't tell me that he was shielding you so much that you couldn't go get medical treatment from anywhere, from nowhere, during
So
this time of you
basically,
dating it.
yeah. So basically, they can use that as an angle in the future. But I wanted to note that because it's going to be something that comes up. It's going to be something that comes up, and we're going to have to reevaluate that and maybe look
May
at
I
that
add?
again. Uh huh.
May I add? Now, vice versa. Now you can say, well, just using your intellect and just saying, well, if she had released that information, it would actually help her case, right? If in the event that she got an X-ray, she went to get a medical evaluation, she got a CT scan, she got all these things, and they found, okay, cracked ribs, a lacerated spleen, broken cracks in, or comminuted fractures or non-comminuted displaced fracture or non-displaced fractures, or
Right.
you can see all these changes from an MRI, et cetera, et cetera. So one could say in terms of if I was a lawyer, I would say, and maybe I was a lawyer in another life, I would say, well, where's the reticle? Where, like Drake said, where's the cabinet that it's filed in? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where's the medical
Yeah.
records? Well, oh, you have medical records? Release them then. Why aren't you releasing them? If I'm talking to a jury, well, if I'm telling you this man brutally beat you, we saw the video, we brutally beat the shit out of you. You're gonna tell me he locked you in a dungeon and you couldn't go get medical treatment? If you had to, right? If you were bleeding, the way I saw how violently he beat the shit out of her in that hotel, one would say you got broken ribs, you have bloody nose, did you have a nose fracture? Did you go get a rhino rocket to stop the bleed? Did you get TXA? You know, did you get cauterized with silver nitrate? What you know what I'm saying? So what? And then your face looks perfect after all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Did you get plastic surgery? These are all questions that could come in later. That could come in. They can ask. They probably can't ask for that without her, you know, violating HIPAA and ADA. But that will be questions of like, okay, if this person is some menace to society that beat the shit out of you for 10 whatever amount of years, there got to be some proof of that other than the video. You know what I'm saying? It's not right that he did that. He's a disgusting pig. But you know, anyway, continue. My bad.
Yeah. So basically you have that, and I wanted to note that because, as I said, that's going to be something that comes up again, and I want to get through this because I believe Cassie is. Yeah, I just got to note that Cassie is taking a stand, so we might get into a little bit of that. But as I said, so opening statements comes. You know, they make the case of how Diddy did all these things. You know, he's a monster and whatever. Diddy's defense comes in and is basically like, well, you know, I mean, everybody knows Diddy has a temper. You know, like everybody knows that Diddy is a pill popper, or he's the and you know it, you know, but she's like, he's not a, nobody was prostituted, everything was consensual. That they basically made the same case that, you know, that they made last time, and I guess, you know, that we've been hearing from his lawyers the entire time. Everything was consensual. There was no, you know, even though they were hitting and they were beating each other and things like that, he's there, you know, there's no evidence of racketeering, there's no evidence of prostitution, there's no, you know, evidence of trafficking. And that was basically their opening statements. So then it moved on to the, I believe it was the security guard at the Intercontinental at a hotel, and that's where I believe Diddy beat Cassie, or yeah, Diddy beat Cassie. And so what they're saying is, damn, there's some lightning. But what they're saying is,
oh damn,
yeah, lightning going crazy out here apparently. But what they're saying is,
that's crazy.
And exactly, you heard that, right? That shit's crazy. But what they're basically saying is,
yeah, that was crazy. You got some good sound quality.
What they're basically saying is yeah, like Diddy set up the freak off, and Cassie, you know, basically wasn't with it. She was trying to leave, and he basically beat her. So the security guard was basically saying, you know, there was another dude in there. So when we see the video of Diddy running through the hallway and all of that happening, there was another man in there where Cassie is trying to run away, and, you know, and he pulls her back, and, you know, he starts kicking her and shit like that. So he said that Cassie had a purple eye. He said what ended up happening is they got a call, and there was a woman in distress, and they wouldn't say much, but she just was saying that she wanted to go home. So he didn't see nothing, and there was nothing on the surveillance. But Diddy came out and he was telling Diddy basically like, look, you just gotta go back, you gotta go to your room, you gotta go to your hotel, and but there was broken shit all over the place, and checkout
Right.
was about to happen. You know what I'm saying? So he was basically telling them like, look, you're responsible to pay for, the damages. All of this shit broken. So because you can even see in one of the videos where Diddy throws a vase. I think y'all remember that. So he was like, Diddy tried to hand him a stack of money. Like, look, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. You go on and take this money and chill. And he said he didn't take the money. He said he
All
didn't
right.
even know. He said he didn't even know that the fight happened until the next day. Until
Okay.
he looked on camera and they found the fight. So what he ended up doing was recording the fight on his phone to send to his girlfriend because he said he felt like nobody was going to believe him. So he basically damn near has 5 videos of this. So this video damn near was inevitably going to be leaked at some point. So
Right.
they were pretty much, asking him, what did Cassie look like? What happened to her? What do you think happened? You know what I'm saying? And he
Right.
was like, so I was trying to help Cassie, and I was trying to make it so they didn't call the police because he didn't know that they fought or not. He seen she had a black eye, but he didn't know what happened. She said that she didn't want to press charges. She just wanted to get her stuff and she wanted to leave. So he ended up having to write an incident report, and in the incident report, he didn't write that Cassie had a black eye. He didn't write that there was another guy in the room. He didn't write that. He didn't write a bunch of shit. He didn't write that Cassie was held against her will or anything like that. She was dragged to the room. He didn't write none of that. So he only thing he wrote that Diddy told Cassie that she should just leave. That's basically only thing he wrote in the incident report. So basically, they were setting up the scene to say like, Diddy was in there whooping her ass, and dude, you know, came in there and had to, come in there and stop Diddy, and he felt like he, basically had to kind of strong arm Diddy to back up and everything. So what they ended up doing was playing the video and at all different angles and starting it, stopping it, watching watching Cassie, and I got it in my notes. We watched Cassie get kicked and punched over and over repeatedly, rewind, fast forward, all of that. And then on top of
Damn.
that, it was just crazy because they said all the while their children are sitting there watching this shit. Their children
Fuck.
sitting there having to watch it. You know what I'm saying? And they can see at some point, like, some of the, the younger children weren't trying to watch it or weren't trying to see it or whatever. But, the sons, everybody else was kind of cool. But everybody had to sit there and watch that. And that's basically what's happened. And the prosecutors did not give 2 fucks. They didn't give 2 fucks. They were slowing it down, slow motion. But hold up, like, did you see that play by play? Did you see that kick right there? Now, see, watch how that toe go in her mouth. Like, yeah, they was doing all of that. They didn't give 2 fucks. Watching her at the end, all while the kids was there. So, you know, when I heard that, it really just let me know, like, okay, they're taking the cuffs off. They don't give a fuck if Diddy's kids is there. You bringing your kids here is not gonna do nothing. We not about to pull no punches. We're gonna do our thing. You know what I'm saying? We coming here to play. Like, we coming here to play. So then they get to cross examinations. And this is where things is like, okay. Like, okay. It's like this is where things get interesting, okay? Cause when Brian Steele entered the chat, I'm not gonna lie. This is when and like I said, this is also noted to me. It was, they said the energy changed The energy literally changed when Brian Steele did his thing, and they had to say like and really sit back and realize it was like, yeah, no, Diddy got a dream team of lawyers, guys. This is not about to just be a Diddy, you know, like it's a done deal.
Yeah.
These,
You know what I'm saying? These white
these. Let
women
me ask.
came to play, but it's not like it's a done deal. But go ahead.
Let me ask y'all, gentlemen. This though, it's like. By the way, what's up, y'all? It's your boy K Dub.
What
Never
up?
What's
been a
good, bro?
deal. Never been a
DJ K
deal.
Dub, the realest DJ on Twitter.
You know what I'm saying? Real shit, no AI shit. You know what I'm saying?
No AI
Anyways,
shit. No AI
no
shit.
AI shit. Anyways, do y'all think? And I saw this, and I might be the first person to say this, but I saw this somewhere on Reddit like 2 days ago. Is Diddy the modern day OJ?
That's an interesting take.
This trial might be the modern day OJ trial.
That's what I'm saying. Is
Um,
Diddy and you saying how he
I
had the
don't
dream
think
team
he's
of
done
lawyers, right?
anything to the degree of a
I
OJ,
mean, I don't know,
but
man. I
this
don't
is
know, man.
definitely
Killing one girl, and then saying that you're this sex demon that fucking all doing all this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? The
oh,
allegation. I'm
I,
not saying they
brother,
stack up.
I'll
brother.
say
When
this.
I say we are going to, oh my God, do I have to? But go ahead.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna keep my shit brief because I know I be
No,
yapping.
yeah. Sorry.
Nah, I'm gonna keep my. No, it's my fault. I think I'm fucking up my boy Diesel shit.
Nah, you good. You good.
I be passionate. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I like that take. I'm not all the way there because this is not a murder case, but I can see the connection in the sense of like, all right, and this is the segue in that this ties in with to what you were saying, Diesel. Whereas his lawyers ain't no slouch. So
No,
in the
not at all.
position, right? The position in terms of like OJ, right? OJ's case was let's attack the evidence and make a convincing narrative to sway a jury, right? That is the position that Diddy has put his defense lawyers in, where they're going to have. That's why I said she's smart for not putting out her medical information, because they picked that shit
Mm-hmm.
apart. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's a game of whose narrative can sway the jury in terms of narrative, including the details, because it can't just be like all lies. There has to be evidence to persuade to swing a jury. This is why people don't like going to trial, because part of a trial, to win a trial, is to convince people of your peers that a group of your peers that with the evidence presented and everything, that without reasonable doubt you are guilty in the public eye.
Of what's
So
present.
that's
But we
why,
even seen with Tory
yeah,
though that if they want you,
right.
it don't fucking matter. Like it don't matter
Right,
what
but
you
that's the thing.
what
You
they
can,
can necessarily prove beyond a reasonable doubt or whatever. Like
right,
it
judges,
seems
yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying. It almost seems like if they want you, they gonna get you. Like fuck that. Like,
right.
and it's crazy.
Well,
And in
because yeah,
places
yeah,
like New York and California,
yeah,
shit gets shaky. I'm not gonna hold
yeah. Desiree Perez. Me chill before they come after me.
you.
I'm a nobody.
I
My
did
boy
drop
gonna get
another article
subpoenaed
in
out
and
of nowhere.
about Desiree. I
Facts.
did drop another article in about Desiree, but let me just
Yeah, yeah.
tell you how brilliant. This is why my boy Drake, and I see why my boy Drake says shot Brian Steele. Too
Ew.
geek for the
Facts.
guys. And I'm
Too geek
hoping
for
that he pulls another one because I ain't gonna hold you. I'm rooting for Brian Steele at this point just because my boy Drake
facts.
made a song
Facts.
about this nigga because it's like I ain't gonna hold. He a cold
He's a
motherfucker.
That
When I
motherfucker's a
say
real ass lawyer. Nigga said
look, when I
pushing
say it
P
was
man, pushing
noted when
positivity.
he took
Facts.
to, when this say it's noted that he took the stand and he was like just changing the energy of the room. I mean, it was almost like I'm like,
Now,
oh okay,
now,
and it
now, Diesel, is
and
it
if
kind of
this
like?
person,
My bad. Go ahead.
now
My
go
bad.
ahead. Nah, I was just gonna say if this certain person is telling me this, then I know what's up. I know it's real. Okay, I
Right.
know it's real.
Right.
But go ahead. You got a question?
No, no, no. I was gonna say, like, think about it this way, right? Is Brian Steele, and I say this again, is the way Brian Steele is in the room, he commanded the room, right? Johnny Cochran did the same thing with OJ.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel
Yup.
like he's damn near the new Johnny Cochran. Like from how it was told to me, he got on the stage and he
Dumb question.
cross-examined the security guard. Huh?
I got a dumb question. All right, don't
Yeah.
knock me because I said I haven't really followed it. I'm actually this is me. This is more informative for me. Dumb question. But you brought up Brian Steele. He's covering. He's he defending Diddy,
He's not the lead defendant. He's like
but he's part
counsel,
of
like
the.
almost a, yeah. He's a part of the legal
He's on.
defense. He's a part of
He's like
the
second
team.
or third chair
Yeah,
probably on
yeah,
the.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
True.
basically like that. He's like second. So
Yeah.
basically, he takes the stand and he cross-examines the security guards, and he says, "I want to pull up your incident report." And he says, "When you do an incident, he's like, I'm just following, but you want to be detailed. You want to be thorough. So you want to make sure you have all the details together, right?" And he's breaking it down like, yeah, you want to have it down to a T. We want to know everything that happened that day if an incident did happen. And so, I'm reading, I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's agreeable. And so he's like, so you said that Cassie what had a black eye, but that's not in the incident report. Why not? So why would that not like? And then I had to like, I'm like, oh shit, like okay, okay. So then he was like, so how is that something that you don't like recall? Because he asked him, how's that not in your incident report? He's like, oh, I guess he says he doesn't exactly recall or whatever the note says. But then he was like, well, how is it that you recalling it now, like 9 years later, and you couldn't record it, you couldn't remember it then? How can you report it now? How can you have perfect clarity now? So I was like, oh shit, okay, okay, like let him cook,
Mm-hmm.
let him cook, like goddamn, like you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
then he said, he
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
you,
Right.
what,
Right.
what'd you
Right.
say?
Right.
Oh no, but then
So
he
I'm with you.
said
Go ahead.
like
I'm
you
with
said there was a woman in distress.
you.
Yeah,
Right.
so then he said there was a woman in distress, and he was
Mm-hmm.
like, that wasn't in your report. So then that's when the security guard started getting irritated. Like, okay, well, now you're just trying to make it seem like I'm just trying to, he was starting to get like flustered, and he, but he was like, well,
Yep.
you said when you walked in there that there was another guy in there, but
Right.
I'm reading your report, and that's not in the report either.
Right.
So he was like,
Mm-hmm.
everything that you're saying here today, he did this happened, and you saw this. None of this stuff is in the report. So he was like, you put your hand on Diddy, you strong armed him, right? Like you pushed him back, right? And he was like, he read the incident report again, and he was like, he grabbed Diddy's hand. So he was like, well, if you strong armed him and all of that, and you know, and you didn't even put that into the report, and you saying that you just grabbed him by the hand, and but he was like, then that's when he started getting it's visibly frustrated, and he was like, well, you got the incident report, but that's not everything. I'm here to talk about the stuff as well, like, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I wrote the incident report, but you know what I'm saying, it's not all it wasn't all that serious that I just forgot. But he was like, well, you saying it's not that serious that you forgot, but back then and even now, you were trying to act like you're so concerned with, everything that went down, but none of this stuff is in your incident report. And you would just think, okay, this person who didn't take any money, this person who, didn't, who said, oh no, I'm going to just keep my integrity. I'm gonna protect this young woman and this, that, the third, and I'm so concerned about her. For you to not include any of this stuff in your incident report, and you're a concerned person, and you're as concerned, as you are, it's like it just doesn't make sense. Which that's where I was like, okay, Brian still might be cooking a little bit. Okay, he might be cooking a little bit. So then he said, you said, in that he said, then you said that Cassie wanted to go home, and Diddy wouldn't let her go home. But then he said, and I quote, read line 8 in the incident report. And then he read it. And line number 8 says something like, Diddy told Cassie to just leave and go home, as I said before. So he said, now that wasn't in the incident report either. So what's going on? He said, actually, what's in your report is that Diddy told Cassie to just go home, that she just told her to leave. So he said, so where did he kidnap her at? Where's the kidnapping? So then he said, Your Honor, no further questions. So after that, I was like, okay, all right, I didn't even, first of all, I didn't even think Brian Still was going to be taking, the stand like that, and really, cross-examining niggas like that. So that threw me for a loop. I was like, okay, he's cooking.
Yeah.
I was like, he's cooking. Okay, like he's definitely getting it in right now. So, but then he said, but before that, no. And I got a note after this. He says, Diddy, I think he said he asked him what Diddy had on. And he said, in the video, he just had on a towel. And he said, you said checkout was coming, right? And he said, yeah. And he said, you told Diddy that he had to pay for everything. Remember I told you. He said he had to pay for all the damages because he was throwing the vases, throwing around shit, breaking shit. You had to, you had to pay for all of that stuff in the hotel. So then he said, so when Diddy opened the door to you and handed you the stack of money and he didn't have nothing on him, he was like, you thought he was bribing you? I said, oh, this nigga cold. Oh, this nigga cold. I said, oh, wait, this nigga Brian Still is cold. Hold up. I said, wait. He said, wait. So he ain't have no clothes on. He was like,
Right.
you told him
Got him.
that he had to pay for all the things in there. And he hands you a stack of money to pay for it, and you thought it was a bribe? I was like, oh, this nigga Brian Still, he don't give a fuck. He cold. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, he knows how to play the game. That's why I was like, okay. You gotta take notes on a lawyer like this, because it was like, he don't give a fuck. Like, he's about to really get into it. But when he took that angle, that's what really made me say, okay, Diddy has a fighting chance. He can kind of, if they can somehow maneuver these little incidents as, okay, yeah, we might have been fighting, but, we're not here for that. Yeah, you might be saying I tried to bribe you, but you also said I need to pay for these things. So here you go, nigga. That wasn't a bribe. Like instantly, that to me, off the table. If I'm a judge, we already know. If we in court, that whole bribe, oh, you tried to bribe me. Brian Still, to me,
Right.
wipe that off the table. It's done.
And
It's
only
done. Yeah, you had a comment? You had a comment?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably can't hear me. But yeah, like I wouldn't say it's completely off the table. It could be something where it's like, okay, now I'm poking holes in this evidence that you're presenting, and it looks bad. Thing is like, okay, where if you thought it was a
It's
bribe,
just
right?
clever.
It's
I just
because,
love it. It's just clever. I
but
just
but
love watching women
that's why I
battle and
loved it.
debate.
Yeah, right. That's why I love this shit myself. And it's like if you thought it was a bribe, that means, right? And if he's trying to trap him, because if you thought it was a bribe, that means that you have some type of idea that what was going on was illegal, and you should have probably alerted the authorities. If he did, I don't know if he did. These are details that I don't know. You
Right.
should have done the due
Yeah.
diligence that a normal
Do
pertinent person
go
would
through
do.
the incident report, things like that, and
Right.
do your due diligence in that type of
Do your
fashion.
due diligence. Right. And
Exactly. So
if there was a crime to report, you should have reported the crime.
exactly. So for him to drop the ball like that, it makes it easy layup for a nigga like Brian Still. You know what I'm saying? It's just an easy layup. Like he was making nothing out of something. Like that's the type of nigga that he was like how's he bribing you? You just told me that he had to pay for everything. When you came to the door, he handed you the money. So where's the bribe? So he was pulling like, and he was
Right.
like that. Even that wasn't in your incident report that he offered you money. And now today,
Right.
here you admitting that he offered you money. All of this new shit is coming out. It was like none
Right.
of this stuff is in your incident report, my nigga. None of
Right.
it is in there. Like, so I'm
Right.
sitting there reading now. I'm like, he
Well,
has a point.
may I provide an opposition, Rob?
Uh-huh.
So here's now I'm gonna play the role of the prosecutor. The prosecutor could say, well, if you come to a hotel and you're a big artist, big billionaire, you don't usually carry cash. Cash is widely known to be untraceable, right? And usually when there's criminal activity, it's Bitcoin or cash involved. So a question that the prosecutor could say, okay, even if you say you yield to the fact that, okay, you poked a hole in the whole, cash or payment thing. Why would somebody who is doing legal things have a
Mm-hmm.
bucket of cash or a bolus of cash on them versus where if I trash or you trash a hotel, guess what's being charged on the card? It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
charged on a card and it'll be traced, right? Unless you're there to do nefarious activities like beat somebody, like have some type of sextortion or something like that, you know? But at the same time, it is not a crime to walk around with cash. But again, we're painting a net. If I'm a prosecutor, I've already did my opening statement to paint this man as a monster and a menace to society, right?
Look,
So it's not even about what's the truth. It's about the story that can be convincing to the foreman of the jury and to stay to the facts.
nah, that's a fact. Now that's a good angle though. But I'll do
Right.
you one even better. I'll tell you what their response was. I'll tell you
Oh,
what
go
their
ahead.
response
Shit.
was.
I shouldn't have been. I see. I gotta wait for. I gotta watch
No,
the
that
whole
was
movie.
good though. No, that was a good one. That was a good one. That was a good take because
Yeah.
that aligns with was more of my original thinking. But then I was like, well, Diddy is a billionaire. There's things that a lot of these niggas walk around. Even you think about the first thing that pops into my mind is XXX, and he was walking around with all that cash to buy a bike or certain things you want to buy in cash or whatever the case may be. There's a
Right.
lot of excuses around that, right? So I was like, all right, well, what else could it be? But then she came back. Brian still sits down, but these niggas was not coming to play. Like I said, like I said. So she said, "Oh, hold on, Your Honor." Shorty came through. Like, "Oh, wait, hold up." Like, Sarah. I think that's where they. But I think that was her. I don't know the lady's name, but I gotta get her name if we can pull her name up or something like that.
Yeah, call it Prosecutor A. Prosecutor A. Whatever.
Yeah, but because she had to come and save it because Brian still basically cooked the witness. So she was like,
Right.
"Wait, hold up, hold on, Your Honor, we ain't done." She was like, can you put that video back on, real quick?" Can we roll that? Yeah, roll that
Can we
back.
present
Roll
the
that clip back.
evidence?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
we
Roll
present the
that clip back
evidence?
real quick. Yeah. So she was like, can you go to the 1 minute mark and just let it play through real quick? And she just asked me what played through. So at the 1 minute mark, of course, what played through was, of course, Cassie walking to the elevator, Diddy coming out, doing the run. He'd running with the towel, dragging her by her hair, dragging her back to the room, stepping on her, kicking on her. We all seen it. So then she says, "Well, th- does this look like he was telling her to go home? Did oh, I'm sorry. Did this look like he was telling her to go home? Oh, y'all didn't see it. Oh, y'all didn't see this. Oh, y'all don't know what I'm talking. Oh, hold on, Judge. Roll the whole clip back one more time. So
Right.
then they proceed to roll the entire clip all over again. They not play like, oh no. Yeah, nah,
That's
Judge.
a tactic. That's a tactic.
She like, nah, yeah. Let's roll the whole clip back. Let's see where he might have possibly, told her to just go ahead, just leave. And they proceed to play the entire clip back. And she's like, does this look like somebody that was being told to go home and leave?
You need
Does
That
to
this
was
look
free to
like
leave.
somebody who was,
that free to go. Yeah.
yeah, that was free to go? Then she says, Your Honor, I have no further questions. I
Right,
was
because
like,
That
that's
is
the
such a
evidence.
mic
I was
drop,
like,
bro. That's such
Oh
a
if
yeah,
I was
mic
because
Brian
drop.
Stills, I would have been like,
right.
I'm
You're
like,
like,
God
fuck.
So
Hey,
how
I'm
this
hey,
like,
plays
God
out?
damn.
Diesel, Diesel. It's like that meme where it's like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Yeah, yo, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting cooked. Like, I know Brian
Oh, but
still feel. I was
there's
like,
ways
yo,
around it. There's ways around it though.
Brian still gave him the. Brian still looked over him at him like Kevin Hart and said, "Help me."
But like,
nigga, help
here's the
me.
play. Here's the play. Here's the play. Right. So like, yes, you right, because at the end of the day, the evidence will always, reign true over a narrative, right? So the goal of Brian Steele and the council is to poke, not just it's not just to poke holes, but to delegitimize the witness. That's the play. So that's why he focused on what the witness account, right, and tried to find lies so that we could either get his entire account dismissed, or at least provide an argument or a thread for the jury to say, well, he's lied about this, he lied about that, like, oh, he said this, but why wasn't this done? Okay, because yes, the video is damning, and it feeds in, it provides evidence, but it feeds into their narrative that he's a monster and a monster manipulator, yada yada yada.
Right.
Now it's to the point where the cross examination or the defense has to start asking questions that, and always go back to what a normal person was able to do, right? So did she scream for help? What was the what like if somebody is trying to, and I'm not making a case. I'm just this is me just as a civilian, just
Real
piecing this
quick,
together.
real quick, real quick. I'm gonna
Go
let
ahead,
you.
go ahead, go ahead.
Nah, I'm gonna let you
Yeah,
make your case. I'm gonna just cut for a backroom break. So just hold it down. Go ahead.
yeah.
He
Um,
Kanye'd your shit. He said, "I'm gonna let you finish."
Nah, you good. Nah, I'll let you feel. I'm just gonna
um,
cut for a backroom break real quick. But go ahead and spit your shit. Go ahead.
yeah. So yeah, like if now the position is like, okay, we got to figure out how we can get around this video, because the video shows quick evidence of like you're being dragged back, so that supports the evidence of, or the claim that he was that is this dude drunk in front of me? I'm sorry, I'm driving. The evidence that you were being kidnapped or held against your will, or at minimum, maybe not kidnapped, but some type of false imprisonment, right? But at the same time, if this individual was there, saw what happened with the dragging and all that stuff, then why didn't you report this? What was your liaison for the how did he kill her?
Oh, my boy cutting in and out. He'll be back though.
Chess match.
But oh yeah, there you go. But yeah, you was cutting in and out a little bit. But
Oh dang! All right, well we'll get back to it. I know you got to. They'll get back to it, man. But it's a beautiful chess match for sure. To see
yeah,
it
I
play out.
love seeing shit like this. I'm not gonna lie, I love seeing shit like this. Just a lawyer battle on that scale. Like, I mean, the what the defendants and the the plaintiff or whatever is one thing, but I literally love seeing because I'm a debater. I love seeing shit like that. It's definitely my shit.
Who's the hey Diesel? Real quick, who's the
Uh-huh.
lead prosecutor for Cassie?
Like I said, well, I don't know if it's necessarily for Cassie, because I think it's the state against, or the
Against
people
Sean
against.
Combs, yeah,
Yeah.
Sean Combs.
So is this a
So
state or a federal case?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if it's a federal case, I'm not, because yeah, I think
So who's the
it's definitely
attorney?
a
So
federal
who's the
case.
attorney general then? That's who's going against Diddy, right?
Right.
Most likely, I would have to research that and
Because
get that information right.
the FBI got a 90% conviction rate.
But yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that you guys
At
had that
best,
little breakdown, and I got me a little break, because
yeah,
that part of everything is
yeah.
nothing to the second part of all of this bullshit that was going on. Okay, so as I was saying, like they you know Cassie's prosecutors, or how we'll call them right for right now, they basically had that mic drop moment where she was just like, "Look, nigga, you can talk and say all of this bullshit you want." Basically, is what she said. You can talk and say all this bullshit you want, but we see this video, nigga. It's sitting right here. All right. You tried to pull a little fast one that was nice and cool or whatever, but this video evidence is right here, nigga. Ain't no amount of what you saying is gonna change that. We see it. So you can try to pull this, but we see it. So she had her mic drop moment.
Yeah.
So then, so then they say, um, we would like to call this man who I have on screen, Daniel Phillips, or Daniel Phillip, however his name is. We would like to call Daniel Phillip to the stand. And so Daniel Phillips, excuse me, Daniel Phillips is the guy. Well, he's basically, I guess, he's you know a stripper, from my understanding of it. And what we like learn about him is he was working in New York, I guess around 2013, and he kind of he wasn't kind of, I guess he wasn't like the main escort at the time, but he was kind of just just now, I guess, getting his feet wet with them. You know what I'm saying? So I guess, hold on, let me make sure my shit is not spazzing out. Can y'all hear me?
I got you.
Okay, hold on, because my thing is freezing up over here a little
Man,
bit. Let me just
we
make
need a
sure.
pause for station recognition.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, hold on.
That boy, that dude Diddy a freaky ass.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh
Yeah,
Lord,
my
Lord.
computer started doing some weird shit for a quick second, but
Oh, we talking about some serious shit.
I'm
Oh
back and better
shit!
than
Hey,
ever.
the lead prosecutor is Maureen Comey. She's the one that fucking. She was
That's
the
the
lead
lead prosecutor.
prosecutor. She was the lead prosecutor in the Ghislaine Maxwell case.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Diddy's got his hands full, bro.
yeah, he about to. Yeah,
She's
he
a
about to.
dig, bro. She digs. She's one of those. She digs, bro.
Mm.
Bro,
She'll go
and
through random shit, bro.
yeah, not
Yeah,
to mention
we're gonna
all
get
the
the details
tapes.
in here. Yeah. And yeah, not to mention that they are going to go over all the tapes, and
It's a large body
I'm
of
more than
information.
sure that I'm going to get most of it in details. So yeah, it's going to be that way. But you know, so this guy, Daniel Phillips, he's working in New York. He gets linked up with Cassie, gets a call from her, and she calls him about coming through, have about a bachelorette party. He's doing little stripper gigs, and so he gets the call from Cassie like, "Hey, I'm doing a bachelorette. Come through with your little stripper gig, and I want to book you." So he pulls up, and then comes to find out it's just her. She was like, "Well, really, it's just me and my husband. It's my birthday, and he wants me to have a good time if you down." So, and apparently, as it's noted here, she answered the door in lingerie and high heels, gave him a stack of money for the booking or whatever like that, and then some. And basically, the whole objective of that was for him to have sex with Cassie, and that's what he was basically called there to do. So he originally thought he was there for a bachelorette. He showed up. It was Cassie in lingerie saying, "Yeah, really, my husband is giving me a hall pass, and yeah, are you down? You get a little extra. You know what I'm saying?" And so
Do something strange for a little bit
he
of change.
basically, and so he basically took it. He basically took the offer, and and he was good as long as his boss. I guess his boss told him he needed to have $200 on arrival. Whoever his boss is. So let me just set the scene, okay? Because this shit is weird. This shit is super weird. Well, I don't know if it's
Hmm.
weird, but it's crazy. So they were in a suite. They had velvet couches, candles lit all around the table, baby
Mm.
oil, the signature Johnson and Johnson, nigga. I'm trying to tell you.
Slip and slide. Hmm.
Okay, you gotta have they. He had the baby oil on deck.
The baby oil.
So Diddy was sitting in the corner, okay, with a white robe on, with a bandana and shades and a cap on.
Oh boy, is a
Okay,
cuck.
a white robe, a bandana, shades, or some type of mask, shades, and a cap on. Just straight incognito mode. Like, yeah, nigga, come in here and fuck my bitch, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's basically playing the role of a cuck.
You said what?
He's essentially playing the role of a cuck,
Basically.
right?
So he
He's a
got
watcher.
lube on the
He's a
table.
watcher.
He got Johnson and Johnson, all of that. And Diddy, he starts fucking Cassie, and apparently Diddy is just over there jacking the whole time with the mask on. So he didn't know it was Diddy yet necessarily. Okay? He didn't know who it was. So, and the transactions would go through, I guess, Diddy, but he didn't know it was Diddy. So he said when he fucked Cassie that first time, he came so quick and it happened so fast that he didn't really take account of everything, and he just left. So he said Cassie hit him 2 minutes later, 2 minutes, nigga, and said, "You have the biggest dick I ever seen in my life. Send me a picture of it." And so he sent it to her and came back, and she told him to come back, and he fucked Cassie again. So just to keep you aware of what's happening in the courtroom, because They're telling me what's happening in the courtroom. The whole time, this is going down while the kids are sitting right there. Okay, the kids is hearing all of this. Okay, they don't give a fuck. They saying all of this shit. So then he says, it got to the point where he would go over multiple times. He would go to Cassie's house. He would go to Diddy's house, and he would just fuck Cassie. Just fuck her all the time. That's what he would be doing. He would just be hitting Cassie all the time. But Diddy would be sitting there directing the shit like a live porno. Okay? He directing the shit play by play like a live porno. And just jerking the whole time. Like, yeah, you do that. You do this, you do that. He's telling her to shoot off in a raw and just going crazy. Okay? So, mind you, this is going to be the full circle moment. Okay? This is going to be the full circle moment. Because Diddy is telling him, no, I don't want you to fuck her with no condom. I want you to fuck her raw. I want you to shoot in her. Okay? And sometimes he would do it. But then it got to a point where he said, I guess one time he faked it. And then Diddy and Cassie went into the rooms. And, you know, he said they would go in there for hours and he would just be sitting around. And, you know, basically, I'm guessing Diddy would just be in there with her himself, doing his thing with her himself. Or sometimes he'll just be over there and he'll be hitting Cassie. And Diddy will be like, all right, nigga, like, the fuck, nigga, let me get some of this shit. Like, the fuck is you doing, nigga? You fucking her too good, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, saying he'll just get in and get some of the shit. So,
in front of the kids, bro.
Yeah, like, they was basically running trains on her.
Damn.
His kids is grown, man. Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, so Diddy, that's basically how Diddy wanted it. And he wasn't necessarily on no gay shit, but he wanted her getting fucked and, you know, skirting off on her and shit like that. So then he says, and this is the full circle, he said it got to the point where he didn't want to keep sleeping with Cassie without a condom because he wasn't comfortable. So he said he wanted to see her you know, her test results, her health records. And he said he showed his. So, but she wouldn't show hers. So he showed his, but for whatever reason, they would not give up Cassie's health records. They would not, you know what I'm saying? So he showed his, like, hey, I don't want to keep on hitting it raw, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your health like? I don't know what her health status is. Like, I'm hitting it raw, I'm skirting in it. I don't know what she's doing.
It comes up again.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever. If she's, I don't know, if she's harvesting my sperm, whatever, nigga, whatever she's doing, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? But so he's like, she never
dirty. I mean, she got HIV, all that.
Yeah, and so it basically started to make him uncomfortable sleeping with her. And then, you know, and it got to the point where, because it was happening so often, like I said, they would be running trains on her, and it got to the point where they would start even inviting other people. And so even that added to the, you know, fact of him not wanting to you know, like, he wanted to see what's going on with your health. Because now he's like, okay, I'm not the only person doing this. There's other people in the mix. So understandably, he's like, hold up, let me see what your health is like. Yeah, all right. So, you know, and in that, he notes how, you know, I guess, like, they're running a train on Cassie one day, and and that's where one of the one of the clips that we seen coming out of the court case where, you know, he said the extra dude that was in there was hitting Cassie, but he was looking her in the eye. Like, he was looking Diddy in the eye. Like, he's hitting Cassie, but he's looking Diddy in the eye. And Diddy's like, nigga, what the fuck you looking at, nigga? The fuck? Like, nigga, you better keep your eyes on this fucking pussy, nigga. Like, fuck is you looking at, nigga?
Right.
Like, and the nigga's just like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I wasn't just, like, it wasn't none of
Well, look
that,
at
but
this. Look at the sky, nigga. Right.
nigga said, yeah, nigga, look at the sky, nigga, don't look at me, nigga. Hit this pussy and don't look at shit. So, you
This nigga committed the cardinal sin.
know. So,
Facts.
and he said eventually after doing all of that, right? You
Like you.
know, eventually Diddy, you know, discarded the mask and the shades and the cap and shit like that, and kind of revealed himself down the line. And he, you know, after a while, excuse me, he revealed himself. So it 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 sounded like a lot of things, just you know, from that standpoint, and where I looked at it, it was like, okay, it seemed like a lot of things were consensual for the most part. You know what I'm saying?
Right. This was
And
a long term thing.
even even the way some of the witnesses were talking and stuff like that, even the way this guy was speaking in you know, in particular, it seemed like, you know, everything was consensual. So then reading further, because this is the part where we see everybody, you know, soundbiting and clipping as well. But he says then that Cassie requested that he, you know, he piss on her, and
Mm.
to the point where he pissed on her, and Diddy and Cassie was critiquing him on how to piss on him. Like, no, you ain't just
The
supposed to
fuck?
just let it all out. Like, you just supposed to sprinkle it a little bit, Nick. Like, whoa. Like, what is
Yeah.
going on? Like, they was
Right.
over here directing the nigga, play by play.
Yeah.
Like I said, how the fuck Cassie and piss on, and she was helping. She was helping from his words. Okay, so
Mm.
it
Oh yeah.
didn't
The plot thickens.
exactly. So it's weird that, you know, that all of this stuff is going on, because I don't necessarily see where the racketeering and all the other stuff is coming from yet. I don't. Not yet.
Right. Right.
So far, everything seems
Right.
consensual,
Which
and
which is part of the defense, right?
yeah, yep.
Right.
So
Because
you
the
know,
defense would say, "Hey, oh no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead."
no, go ahead. Yeah,
No,
yeah. You
I've
want to go
seen a
ahead?
lot of cases. I seen a lot of cases come out. Like you talk about Casey Anthony, you talk about Trayvon Martin. The defense is will tell the jury focus on the evidence that pertains to the charges. So to your point, that's another I guess another card that he has in his deck, because where is the illegal racketeering? Where
Right.
is the sex trafficking? Where is the
Using your power
that
over
kind of thing?
people to this, that, and
Yeah,
the third. Yeah.
false imprisonment and all these things. Sounds like from what you're telling me, this was a consensual relationship that was going on over multiple times, but at some point at this hotel,
Yeah, she didn't
shit
want
went
to do it
sour
anymore.
and she didn't want to deal with it anymore. And he became enraged by this. Like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I've been paying this. What's the problem now? Like, you've been doing, you let the nigga pee on you. All of a sudden, I just spent all this money to come to this nice ass hotel so
Yeah,
for us both to enjoy
yeah, you cutting out just a tad, a little bit, but
itself,
yeah, I definitely feel you. You know what I'm
which
saying?
also pokes a hole in
Yeah, you
the
back down. Oh,
narrative that
oh yeah, you cut out again. But yeah, I definitely feel that. it makes the conversation seem like it's not so black and white, and how it's just easy to paint her as a or paint Diddy as this monster. You know what I'm saying? And even though they did have a because he goes on to to detail how you know even while he wanted and he disclosed to them and he said that that he wanted to stop having sex with them and doing the thing doing doing the interactions with them. And he basically told them when they were like why, he was like my thing can't go up anymore, like it's not working. So and he was like it was because he you know heard these niggas basically Diddy beating her ass. He heard the fucking all that. You know what I'm saying? He heard the niggas. They in there. They fucking shit up. Okay, and he heard all of that shit. And I guess somewhat that somewhere that kind of that's all he heard while he was in the living room, and that kind of turned him off a little bit the first time it happened. But and then apparently after that happened, I guess Cassie ran out, jumped in his arms, and was and they just started kissing and fucking. But the kicker to that, because it says, and I had to LOL to this because it says as this happened, and he starts, basically fucking Cassie again. I guess some type of romantic relationship is growing between them. The nigga looks around the corner and Diddy is peeping around the corner. Diddy is peeping around the corner, stroking, just, and it's like, oh, he's like, oh hell no.
Dude, pause. This
He's like,
bitch
oh hell,
said,
and
this
he just
bitch
left
said
after that.
stroking.
He's
I
he
started
say,
going in on his shit.
yeah, yo, I'm like, yeah, and he
My boy
just.
said, my boy gave everyone the
I said,
He was like he just dipped after
ugh.
that. You know what I'm saying? He said he just
Yeah,
dipped after that. So
fucking
and he
weird.
was over it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
nigga,
Oh,
nah.
now he's over. Oh, now he's over it. Fuck.
now, yeah, now you over it, nigga. Like
That fucking weirdo.
I don't know. Depending on
Again,
how much a nigga is paying me and he's not touching me, and you just
where's
want
the
me to fuck your bitch,
crime?
I don't know. You might can pay me to fuck your bitch. I don't know, but
Yeah.
Where's the
I,
crime?
I don't know. I don't know Diesel. I don't know Diesel.
She gotta
To
be
me
a
though, it's
baddie
like
at least.
that's. It's not even that's got to be a baddie. I don't know if I could. Just as a man, that's some weird shit to watch a grown man watch you fuck a woman. Like that is kind of
I
weird.
mean,
I'm
look,
not gonna lie.
Hey,
I
listen,
have tag
whatever
teamed
floats your
some
boat or
bitches with
finds
my
your lost
boys
for a boat.
before, okay?
Nah,
Me
listen. Nah,
in
Exactly.
fuck
my
that.
younger years, in my high school years, I have tag teamed some bitches with my
Oh no,
boys.
I'm saying tag teaming
But
is one thing. I'm talking about where you're watching where one nigga's
oh,
just
I'm not
watching you
cucking
go
no
to
hell no.
town.
Niggas is not fucking my
Oh,
bitches.
I'm not even focused.
No, 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 no,
Unless
no,
I
no,
got
no. I'm saying
it
no, no.
seemed
I'm
like
saying
Cassie was his bitch to be fucked by other niggas, and that's what when he
yeah,
wanted
but
that
why
little
let
kink.
yourself be that woman though? That's what's crazy. Is like
Cause she's into it too, bro.
Well, I guess in this trial is to prove that I'm guessing that she was never that woman because then she would have to be complicit in some of these acts and crimes.
yep, and then there'd be
So
Right.
no case. Yeah, there'd be no case.
yeah,
Exactly. Motion for dismissal.
Hey, I'm not gonna
so
lie, dude. If Brian Steele could show evidence that she was, or not just Brian Steele, but if the defense can show some evidence that she was willing to participate in these, even once, that's cause for dismissal, bro. Because if you're able to sit there and say I'm complicit one time
Yep.
in these freak offs, what's to say you weren't complicit in almost all of them?
yeah, or
all
Right.
they need to
Who's to
do is
say you wasn't
reasonable doubt.
until the
Maxine?
Hey,
last couple or until the last one.
like they said, reasonable doubt, bro. That's all you
Right.
need.
And that
All you need.
and who to Dub's point, who's to say you're not a Maxine G where you were setting shit up?
Yep,
You know what I'm
where
saying?
you got these guys that you loved with big dicks to
Which
fuck you.
which
You know what I'm saying? Like,
which
Yeah.
right, which she did in this sense. She had a lot of communication. She said, "Hey, yeah, you got a big thing.
see,
Come back."
yeah, you
You
got
know
a
what I'm
big
saying?
thing.
So
I'm trying to make it rain. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
facts. I'm trying to ride this dick.
oh yeah, she gonna ride the dick. Yeah,
I can't
like
get no 8 hours
she,
of
hey,
sleep.
Bro
all I'm
was
gonna
hot
say
during
is
the fuck.
she drove
I
the
mean,
manual for
Cat. The
sure.
crazy thing is, Cassie don't even look like the type of girl that would be doing
She
all
does
that
it, bro.
shit.
Especially in the picture
Bro,
you're
bro,
showing
but
right now, dude. She looks so
bro,
innocent.
Yo,
bro, it
like
be like that though. It be like
The
that, yeah.
innocent looking
it
ones. It
do.
always be
It
the
no, it
innocent looking
do.
ones.
Yes.
It do. But
The ones
even the innocent ones that's low key demons don't be into full on bukakis, my nigga.
Freak
nah,
off,
Like,
nah,
dog.
nah, nah,
like, come
nah,
on.
nah. I'm not gonna. Hell no. I'm not gonna co-sign that. Hell
Nah,
no.
nigga.
Hell
This
no.
dude Mills be dealing with some
Listen,
fucking freak off girls, bro.
listen. I grew up with a
Not
house
every
full of
girl.
ladies. Let me
Oh,
tell you, the
lit.
shit that go the
Oh, lit.
tea, and the shit that my
Oh
wife be
Lord.
telling me that some of these you would not be you would be surprised. In fact, they made fun of this shit on Family Guy in the most recent episode. I know it's a cartoon, but the librarian in the most recent episode with Quagmire,
Oh, you're talking about
actually, you know, Quagmire,
the furries.
yeah. The librarian, the fat librarian. She was like, all I do is read. You would have not think she was anything, you know. But she was reading all them sex books and all that stuff. She was actually in the end of the episode, she outsexed Quagmire, who's supposed to be this like sex god, and he couldn't even handle her because she was such a freak because she was reading all these books and all these things in the Kama Sutra and all that shit. And I was like, that's a really, you know, that's a really good depiction of girls that you think, oh, she's just so sweet. She goes to church. Everybody, you know, the church girls be the freakiest ones. The Catholic shorties, when I
Nah,
grew up,
I'm not
man,
putting
you
it
know,
past no
you know
bitch.
what I'm saying?
But I just
You know what I'm
like
saying?
it's levels to this shit. You feel me? There's bitches now. Cassie, yes, can she pass as a bitch who might, you know, might like an occasional train shit? Like, okay, all right. If you told me she did that a couple
But
times in
we're
her
talking
past,
on
I'll
the
believe
daily, damn near
it. We talking 10-hour bukakis, nigga.
10 hour
Fuck a
freak
free.
offs, dog.
Like we talking like, and that's what they reported in there. He
Like
said some
orgies and
of the.
sex parties.
He said
No,
sometimes
bro,
he
not even
would be
orgies and
there.
sex parties. We're talking freak offs. We're talking, hey, let me get that
But
18th
isn't
bottle
that
of baby
essentially,
oil.
He
yeah,
said
like a freak
sometimes
off
he
is a
would be
sex
there
party.
up to 10 hours.
Yeah,
10 hours.
it's a sex
That's
party.
past the
Okay.
orgy time, bro. Orgy time's usually like 3 to 5, maybe. It's like double that, bro.
Nah,
Jesus.
He
nah,
the
nah.
nigga.
I
I'm
mean,
telling you.
depends. If you a billionaire, you ain't got no job. You just got to be over there chilling out. When you a billionaire, you got all the time in the world.
But this is
Your
my thing,
business
though.
runs
It's
itself.
just
So you know,
that's what Diesel's trying to say. It's just like,
yeah.
yeah, I understand, like maybe a couple times, like maybe 2, 3 times a month. But he said damn near marathons, bro. Where it'd be like, all right, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we doing
Talking
freak
10
offs.
hours. Like what?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we doing freak offs. Thursday's the
3 day
replenish
freak
day, and then
offs and
Friday,
shit. Like
Saturday, we coming back stronger because it's the weekend.
sure, like come on, the nigga documented how he was like, yo, I fucked the bitch, came dumb quick. She called me back 2 minutes later after I just finished fucking her to come back, fuck her again. He said he
She
talked
probably
about
got
how
that
he would be fucking her,
fire.
I'm not gonna lie,
bro. He's
Cassie,
talked
yeah,
about how
Cassie a
he would be
baddie.
fucking her. He
She a
sometimes would
baddie
tag
too.
Diddy in. Diddy get tagged in, fuck her some more. Then he tagged Diddy tag here, nigga. Get back in there. Yeah, they
She
was
probably
doing
got the
all of that
fire
shit.
sugar. I've been
Tagging,
waiting.
yeah,
I'm
nigga fucking
to
her for
make
a
the
minute. They go
move. Yeah.
sniff some coke in the
Tell me how
next
you
room
like
while
it.
he sit there do whatever, pill pop whatever, and come right back and get right back to it. I mean, look, I don't even
She
know
got
how
the
you do it that many
goods.
times. Like, boy.
But
Yeah,
bro,
I
I'm
don't
telling
know.
to you, drink some orange juice. You get hydration. You
That
know,
girl Poom Poom
you had
dragging pon the floor. It
He
can't
funny,
even
said,
be touched.
he said, put the
Poom Poom
poom.
dragging pon the floor.
He
Put
said,
I'm
the
put the
telling
floor.
you.
poom, put the poom in the bottle and shake it.
On the floor.
My
Major
boy
laser.
said,
Oh,
On
my
the
boy
floor.
Diesel, my boy Diesel said, put the poom in the bottle and shake it.
yeah, like come
Girl
on.
said she got the Ben spoon on it. Give me the Ben spoon on it.
Shit, I don't know, man. So
This dude, this dude
apparently,
Mill
you
said,
know.
More fire upon it. Yeah.
so
more
Bust it
fire,
up.
more
Bust it up.
fire, more
Mash
fire.
it.
apparently,
More
you
fire.
know,
Daggerine.
I guess Cassie is taking the stand now,
Oh shit.
and
Ooh. Oh
or
shit.
she
That's a
either that or
problem.
she's already took the stand. But
But
I'm gonna
again,
save
in
that for tomorrow. I'm not gonna exactly get
okay.
into that today. Um, but you know, I think I think this whole case is pretty interesting, and we're in for something. I want to go ahead and give you guys your closing statements real quick, and yeah,
Oh wait,
let you
hey
guys
Diesel, do we have any comments?
on what?
No, no, no. Are there comments on the live or on the?
Oh no, I would read them if it was.
Oh, okay.
Like
But yeah, if y'all want to give y'all
s-
Go ahead, Mill.
but here's my thing, and I'll keep it brief. Uh, everything you just told me from this, just everything that reported on
oh, you going out again.
what
Yeah, Mills, you're cutting out. Mills, you're cutting out.
happened, storyline. They might be. Oh, damn. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
now we
hear you
can.
again.
Can
Now
you
we
hear
can.
me?
Now we can.
Damn it. All right. Uh, so in all the things that you were saying, I have yet to find the crime that fits the RICO charge.
Right.
Right? There may be other crimes, like false imprisonment and all that, yada 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 yada.
Yeah.
But even that, Brian Steele could say this one incident, right? Because I'm
'Cause I'm
assuming that
assuming.
this gentleman was in the hotel that, huh? I'm assuming this gentleman that you're talking about, this stripper, was in the room during this time during the video, right, in the
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah.
And one could convince a jury that this was a lover's quarrel by establishing this timeline and establishing and also poking holes in this poor woman was beaten and treated like dirt and all these things and poor you and women, all this stuff, the big bad black man, which I still think Diddy's a piece of shit personally, but sticking to the facts, um, this big black scary billionaire man is just destroying lives and the whole Jaguar White thing. It pokes
Right.
holes in that. And not my other thing I would like to state is that people are like, oh, the tapes, it's damning evidence. But you don't know to what other edition Diddy had text messages, emails. He has things that he probably personal things that he probably held on other than the tapes. You know,
Right.
and part of the tapes was like, okay, maybe I'm a sextorting people, but I'm also doing this for evidence. So y'all ain't gonna try to play me like I raped nobody and nothing like
Yeah.
that. Nah, all y'all niggas was in here and y'all all was like, hey, we all
Y'all
down to
always
we all
having
down to
fun.
the freak to the freak
Y'all
show.
always a part
You
of
know what I'm
this.
saying? It was
And I
all
feel like that's
contributors, so
probably
don't try
why
to play me.
there isn't probably the biggest pile on, because maybe Diddy is keeping a couple of people in check with some things that can come out
Right.
in the
And
future.
I'm not I wouldn't put it past him that he's
And it seems like they're trying to play the
extorting
angle and
people.
keep the
You know what I'm
angle
saying? That
of
he's a shady
him
motherfucker
not
and he's
really
like,
being
you know what I mean?
gay, because we didn't necessarily in all of that, we didn't get anything about him actually, having any sexual contact with the man himself,
But
or any dude
but
himself.
again, Diesel,
At least
is
not
it a
yet.
crime to be gay?
No, that's not even a crime. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think
You're right. Is it?
it all of this stuff, it's not what the common person hears. And when the common person hears these things, and when you're not a person who, it's almost like you seeing somebody get shot for the first time, or seeing somebody die for
Yeah.
the first time.
Yep.
It's a big or it could or possibly traumatic experience. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
once it's happened a couple of times, it loses its. You know what I'm saying? So you know,
Right.
that's just how I feel
My,
about
my,
it.
yeah. My other thing is like, where's the racketeering, right? Where is, the RICO? RICO is an acronym. Where is the action like the crime that fits the charge? And that is the defense right there. The defense doesn't care about him beating her or anything. It does the actions fit and the evidence fit the charges that he's being charged with. Now, if you want to charge him for this domestic abuse or assault, kidnapping, or any of that stuff, you may have a case. But if it's the charges are something related to sex trafficking, well, how are you sex trafficked if you were complicit in setting up these events with this stripper,
Yeah,
which you
because
were
in some
complaining
cases
you
she
were
set
not
him
you
up
were not
herself.
right. Not to mention, was the gentleman sex trafficked when he consented to these things? No, sex trafficking, and I've seen it in the ER.
Well, no,
I've had
because
people
he
come
can
in,
technically be hit for prostitution. So some deal has to be made.
right, for
You know,
prostitution. Right, exactly. You see what I'm
because he
saying?
said he
So
would make
prostitution as well
around
as
600 to $2,000 every time.
Damn.
damn,
Damn.
that's a bag. You do that shit a couple of you had that's
I
like
would
you had
fuck.
it made in
I'm
the shade,
fucking
nigga.
in. I damn near might fuck anybody's bitch for seven
Two
hundred
thousand.
to two
Two
thousand dollars.
thousand for $2,000.
Yeah, yeah. Shit. I
Shit.
fuck. I done fucked your.
All I
I done
gotta,
fucked a couple
I
bitches
mean,
for
I would
free,
probably
nigga.
do
I
a little
might as
bit
well
more,
get paid for it.
but
Yeah.
facts. Facts,
Yeah.
niggas can make themselves come for free, nigga. Like you just get paid for it. If I'm gonna waste my
Yeah.
seed, I'm gonna spew my seed for some money, dog. You feel me?
Yep.
There's dudes that jerk off into a fucking petri dish and become sperm donors for a little bit of change. And got kids all over the world that didn't even know that belong to them. Like, hi, dad.
Yeah,
Like 10 years later.
yeah.
But again, it's like, where is the sex trafficking? Where is the sex extortion?
Yep. You gotta
Where
remember
is
though, Mills.
any
It's
of
the
the?
first
Where's the
day.
crime? Can
It's
we
the
can
first.
we
But
point to
Mills,
the
it's the
crime? If
first
I'm
day.
Brian Still,
Yeah, it's still
yeah,
the
true,
first
yeah,
day,
this,
but
yeah,
yeah, I don't see it.
true. There's more.
I don't see
There's
it.
more to come.
I think they
I would say
We're not
Brian
even
Still won the day.
scratching. Yeah, we're not even scratch. No, I'm gonna be honest. I'll
Yeah.
wait for my. I'll wait for mine. Go ahead, Mills. You can finish up. I'll wait for my closing statement.
No, I'm basically. I would say my last statement would be is I believe that Brian Still won the day because, again, with the evidence that was presented today, is like, where's the crime? Where's the crime? We have not. The beating the shit out of her is a piece of shit scumbag piece of shit person, and the charges would be assault and battery if anything, but those are not the
Domestic assault,
charges. The charges is
domestic abuse.
RICO, racketeering, domestic assault, that kind of. If that's the charges, then he fulfilled that by beating the shit out of her. But if the charges is some type of RICO, sex trafficking, whatever RICO, right? Then where is those actions that fit those charges? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So I would say he won at least they won the day because nothing you're telling me fits the crime that fits the charge. Does the actions fit the evidence fit the crime? And how do we link it? It sounds like, hey, you was all good. It was all friend zone until you was like, oh, I don't want to do this shit, and he beat the shit out you for it because he spent all this money to do that, which is still wrong on top of it. So that's my last piece here, Dub.
Um. So.
Finish
I'm
it
a.
up. Take us out, Dub.
Yeah. Honestly, just sitting through the first day of this trial, it just feels really heavy, and I'm gonna get a little
Right.
philosophical real quick, but it's not just because of who's involved, like, but because of everything this represents, right? Like we're watching an icon, not even just a figure, an icon who was once
Right.
considered like untouchable, right?
Yeah,
Like
like yeah,
nobody can fuck with Diddy. Like that he was, you know who he is, Diesel? He's fucking Kingpin.
yeah, yeah.
He's
Facts.
Kingpin, bro. He was Kingpin. And then it's like now he's being forced to face real questions, real consequences. not just from the victims of all this, but from people, from normal people like all three of us.
Yep.
Like it's not just about Diddy, it's about being seen, being heard, and it's like, and then for Cassie, it's like maybe finally getting closure. Maybe that's what this trial is. And
Yeah.
like I said, it's day one. There's so much we don't know. But what we do know is that, like, when Brian Still entered the courtroom, the energy shifted. It's not business as usual. This isn't a normal open and shut Rico case. And it's just like, you got to feel like behind the scenes, something big is coming. And to Mills's point, I don't think Brian Steele won. I think the prosecution got a big boost today just off of Brian still thought he had an ace in the hole with the whole, hey guys, look, where's the evidence of this and that and that. And then, like you said, Diesel, here comes the DA. Here comes the DA. The
Mm-hmm.
head prosecutor comes and says, hey, do me a favor. Go to minute one of this video for me. Like,
Yep.
exactly. Like, she knew, it's almost like she knew Brian Steele was gonna do that.
It was a great counter. It was a
And that's
great
what I'm
counter.
saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's like, dude, that's like in a boxing match taking
Yeah.
something to the chin, bro, and giving them a 1-2, bro.
Yeah. But it
Like,
lets you know that Brian Steele is going to pick literally everything apart that he can possibly can at the same time too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I want to see that too. That I just love that sparring between lawyers and
yep.
stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
they do their thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes me think. Well, shit, it might not be over and done for Diddy all the way. Who knows?
No, no, oh, 100%. No, no, no. He's got a chance. It's just, I,
At
I
least
think
that's the perception
people,
right now.
yeah. But I think people need to remember, though. And that's what I'm going to tell Mills, right? It's like, especially Mills, it's like, yes, Brian still did a good job today. But if I'm
Right.
Diddy, the moment she
Yeah.
did that, the moment she did that and she played that video back and everybody saw you for the monster that you are, everybody
Instantly
on that jury's like, fuck
re-gratified
this
you.
guy.
Yeah. You instantly
She knew what she was
revalidated that
doing,
guy.
bro.
Yeah,
She
but
knew
you
what
see,
she was
see,
doing, bro. She knew what she was doing. She's like, yeah, maybe we didn't touch on the Rico portion of this case yet, but I'm gonna make these fucking 12 people hate you
Right.
early on. They're gonna think
right,
you're a monster.
but
This whole time, they're
but
gonna think you're a monster.
right, but
So,
that's typical of a prosecution. I mean, you talk in terms of what prosecutors do. That's their typically their modus operandi. Like I can point to several cases that 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 promotes that narrative imagery. Um, they're more on the let's use the evidence as well as painting this person as a monster to sway the jury. However, where cases get lost, where
hmm
cases
hmm
get like in particular the Trayvon Martin case, right? The
yep,
defense will say, "Are you gonna lock this man up on the basis of narrative, or are you gonna focus on the evidence?"
hmm yep.
My boy went out.
And it's like
And
that's
focus on
yeah,
the evidence. The
yeah.
evidence. And does the evidence, you see what I'm saying? So although this is very theatrical, and many cases has been won on theatrics, but not solely on theatrics. The
Oh no,
theatrics
100%.
aids gives it's like a crutch or an aid in producing producing the result that you want. Yes, Diddy is probably a piece of shit person. He is. He's a
Real
freaky
split.
ass dude.
Real
Yeah.
split. But
He's this,
we gotta
but
weigh
is
in
he
from
a criminal?
we got to weigh in from Boozy Badass. He said she liked the piss in her mouth. Don't see any crimes he has done. Everything was consensual.
Oh
She
Lord.
enjoyed the sex
See?
thrills
You
and the
see?
gifts after. I see no crime but domestic violence in this case. SMH, but Hugh Hefner. They let Hugh Hefner do whatever. Sad. If he was black,
Yep.
he would have been in prison. Let's keep it a thousand. It's crazy how sex parties become
Yep.
crimes. That's what Boozy just said, guys.
Yep.
What y'all think?
Yep. Wait. Oh, he's just basically fortified my point. Where is the crime? I'm not trying to take up for Diddy. I'm being objective. Fuck Diddy. I don't give a fuck. Fuck Diddy. You know what I'm saying? As a person. You know what I'm saying? But again, if I'm a lawyer, where is the crime? Right? So in my opinion, if I'm Brian Steele, yeah, you may have won on a theatrical level,
The court of public
right?
opinion.
But at the end of the day, putting somebody's life, right? You won in the court of public opinion and the theatrics and the imagery. But at the end of the day, be sour all you want, what's gonna be his conviction and condemnation will be on the evidence. You see what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of people was mad about Trayvon Martin, mad about Casey Anthony, mad because it's like, no, she killed her daughter. No, he could have walked away. He wasn't a cop. Nah, nah,
Okay, I'm not gonna
nah.
lie, we getting some updates
Look
here.
at the
It's getting
facts.
spicy.
Look
Hold
at
up,
the evidence.
Yep, yep, yep.
we're gonna have to look
Oh
at
shit.
something real quick. Hold up,
Oh shit, we about to get
y'all
a
boy.
diesel nuke or what?
Dude, my boy's putting in some.
We about to
He's
get a
You
bringing
diesel
about
in
to
nuke?
drop down
updates.
a red button.
Okay,
We about to get a red button. A red button.
let's see. This is after the cross score, whatever. Oh my God. Okay, so all right. Um, he's going step by step. Says, the judge says this is about evidence. Says this is about evidence that is coming into the case. The public has a right to know what is happening at trial. I don't see how we would navigate that concern. There's a potential impact in the jurors of signaling some evidence requires sealing. Okay, so I'm trying to get to the good stuff where we get Miss Ventura. You got the judge says on the two incidents with Miss Ventura we discussed last week. The defense says the assault in Connecticut messages between Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs is relevant. Blah 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 blah. Let me get to where she gets on the stand. That's what we really want to get to. Oh, they're still talking to Phillips today. So they are still talking to Phillips currently right now. I want to get into the stuff that he's getting into with Cassie because Cassie is currently being questioned. Um, okay, so yeah, here we go where we have Cassie on the stand. He is literally damn near dropping a play-by-play right now. I'm not lying. Okay, so Ventura, Cassie says, "Oh no, it starts. Damn, yo, she been in here for a minute. She's up here." Okay, so this must be them coming back. You got Ventura in here. He says, "Did you get in arguments?" This is Asa Johnson. Asa Johnson, I'm guessing, is the prosecutor. Says, "Did you?" Well, I'm not sure because Diddy has a female judge too, so I'm not sure. I don't know their names, but maybe one of y'all can let me know. But it says, "Did you get in any arguments?" She says, "Yes. It will result in violence, dragging, whatever that means." Says, "What else did he do?" "Stomp me in the head if I was down." Says, "How frequently was he violent?" "Too frequently. I would get black eyes and bruises." Also, he says, let me show you a video," and he shows the L.A. hotel elevator video that we were talking about. He says, "Where is this?" She says, "The Intercontinental in Los Angeles. It was after a freak off. It was right after the. Oh my God! Let me light my. Hey, welcome to the Doja Room. I was about to get out of here, but hold up. Light your blunt up. Hold up. God damn. This is getting crazy. We got Cassie on the stand, play by play. She says I was at the Intercontinental, just left the freak off. He says, "What does that entail?" She says, "The hiring of an escort, setting it up." Oh my God, light your blunts. She says, how did you feel when he first asked for it? She says, confused, nervous, but I wanted to make him happy.
Mm.
She says, did you agree to one when he first proposed one? She says, yes.
Okay.
Then there were more. It was something I wanted to do, at least not that frequently. Okay?
Mm.
All right? She says, I didn't know what to. She says, yeah, she says, I didn't know what no could turn into. So Asa says, what do you mean? Making him angry. What were you afraid of? Or what were you afraid would happen if you said no? Ventura says, though time I guess like thought time he had blackmail materials. I guess she thought he had blackmail material on her, or he had videos and stuff. Maybe the videos that he had. She says, "What did you give the government?" She said, "Laptops."
Damn.
Also says, I've handled up GXB. Do you recognize it?" She says, "Yes, I reviewed this drive." So it's a hard drive, I guess. She says it has communication and documents pertaining to Mr. Combs. She says, "Did you review photos on it?" She says, "Yes." The lawyer says, what's this photo?" She says, "Me in 2004 with Carrie Morgan." She says, "When did you sign with Bad Boy Records?" She says, 2006. It was a 10 album deal.
Damn, that's rough.
Did Yeah, exactly. Did you
Jesus.
release any after 2006? She says, "No." She
Damn.
says, "Who's in this photo?" She says, "Kim Porter. She was Sean's ex from before me and the mother of his children." Also
Yo,
says,
y'all can hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. Also says, "Where
Okay.
did you celebrate your birthday in this photo?" She says, "In Las Vegas. Carrie Morgan was there too. We are out on this patio on my 21st birthday VMAs." She says, "What happened then?" She says, Sean kissed me in the bathroom. I ran back to my hotel. I told Carrie. She says, "When did you go back to New York?" She said, "I'd visit him in the Trump Hotel in Columbus Circle. His apartment was being renovated." She says, What were you going with your music? Or what were you going with your music with? I don't know what that means. He must be a typo. He typing real fast, I'm guessing. Trying to come up with a concept. Sean called all of the shots. Also says, "What is the age difference between you and Sean Ventura?" 17 years. That's the age difference.
Damn.
"How did you feel when Sean invited you to hotels?" She says, "Nervous, excitement. We're going to talk about music. He introduced me to oral sex. I didn't understand it." Said, "Did you visit Sean in Miami?" She says, "Yes, I went with Carrie Morgan in Dallas, Austin." Says, "What did you and Sean do together?" She says, "Sexual intercourse. He gave me blue dolphin ecstasy on a boat." She says, "Had you once before taking ecstasy unintentionally?" She said, "Yes." Also says, "How did you take ecstasy unintentionally?" She says, "It was in Gatorade." Also says, when you took it intentionally with Sean, how did it feel?" She says, "Like rolling." At the time, what did you think?" She says, "We were spending a lot of time together. I thought we were monogamous." She says, "Was it made public?" He said, "No. I was his artist. Also, his family, his children." So I guess they didn't want to make that public at the time. She said, the lawyer asks, "Who was linked to him publicly?" She says, "Kim Porter." She says, "How did Sean treat you at this time?" She says, "We had fun." Also says, "What was his lifestyle like?" She said, "We had all these uh, what is this? It's an assonance. He could get things done. Oh, we had all these assistants. I'm sorry. I'm high. I'm high. I'm high. He could he could get things done. He traveled quite a bit. She says, "What's in this photo?" She says, "Sean and I at a strip club in New York, like 2007 or 2008 Halloween." She says, "How did Sean's mood vary?" She said, "Day to day." She says, "When it swung, how could you describe it?" She said, "Anger, zoning out." She says, "How did it impact you?" Ventura said, "Greatly. The next thing I knew, I was getting hit in the face. There was also psychological abuse. He told me to watch my mouth, change my face." Also says, "How would he keep tabs on you?" She says, "We didn't live far apart. He'd send security to come find me or a trusted assistant." She says, "Like who?" She said, "David James, Christina Karam." "What was your relationship exclusive?" She says, "No." "Did you see other men?" She says, "Yes." "Did Sean see other women?" She says, "Yes." He said, "I am Puff Daddy. I was insanely jealous."
Yo,
Did
Diesel,
you?
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cause you know me, I'm driving in the mountains, so I went in and out. Is this still Cassie Ventura?
This is still Cassie and the lawyer speaking today, an hour ago.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay, continue.
So she says, um, "Did you move to LA with him?" She says, "Yes. He wanted me. He wanted to be close to his kids who were there." She says, "Where did you live in LA?" She says, 8875 Cormstock Avenue, Wilshire Corridor Condos." Also ask, "How tall was the building?" She says, "No more than 17 floors." She says, "Where did Sean live?" She said, 200 South Mapleton. Sean would use a golf cart to get back and forth. Also asks, "Who paid your rent in LA?" She says, "Sean, except when I had the house in Studio City." She said, "Why do you pay then?" She says, "I could afford it then. And I wanted to have some control. It was accepted." She said, "By whom?" "By Sean." "How many songs did you write while with Sean?" She said, "Hundreds. Most were never released. Some got leaked onto the internet. Some on mixtapes." "How many albums did your deal on well, how many albums on your deal were not released?" She says, 9. She said, "Did you get paid for them?" She said, "No." Says, "The freak offs became a job when there was no time to do any." Well, hold on. I might be skipping some things. Okay, no, I'm not. Okay. She said, "The freak offs became a job. There was no time to do anything else but do them and try to recover." She says, "How much time in your week would freak offs take?" She said, "The longest one was 4 days. Significant periods of time." Holy shit. And they said, "We'll break there." So I'm guessing for the past hour, they have been in in uh in a recess. Um but yeah, this is I'm telling
Be-
you guys, it's going there. It says,
Um,
"Now that I'm out of arraignment of contraband in the courthouse case before the judge, protective order video was taken inside the courthouse. Defendant is not to be in detention, but U.S. Marshals are here and back in the courthouse store." Okay, that's somebody got caught with the contraband. Somebody had contraband in the courthouse, and it was ammunition for a Luger. Okay.
what?
So that's something else. I guess somebody got caught with. You can't have any video recordings or anything like that in court. I'm guessing that's what he's talking about, and somebody got caught with it in court. But right now they're currently in recess, and that's everything up to date on what we have with Cassie and what she said. So what do you guys think?
Uh, I think, I mean, I missed a lot of the earlier stuff. But it seems to me again, I'm like, you. To what end did you were you complicit in it? Like I said, I don't know if you had said what you had said earlier. If she was like, trying to paint this narrative that she was, a sex slave or something. I don't. Is that kind of like the what you were saying earlier? Like what that
Well,
what you were saying
that's what
with
the last
reciting?
one says was basically from it sounds like from her perspective is the freak offs basically became her job, and that became the only thing that she was doing. It went from her being Diddy's artist to her being
A fuck object.
the person who sets up the freak offs and you know basically does everything else that he wants, and she didn't have time to do anything after except quote unquote recover. um
Okay.
so
So
that's what it is.
where it again, if that's what she said, and I think that's a good. So who was cross examining her? Was it the prosecution, or the defense in these
I
questions?
that sounds like the prosecution.
Okay.
I'm not
Because I
exactly sure if anybody looked up who exactly is the prosecutor, but yeah, it's a
who the fuck is that?
is it, I'm not sure.
The verse for the Swifties. um. Yeah. It just
We
sounds
don't play
like
too much of that, they're gonna clap us. But
facts. It sounds like it's more defense because these questioning supports the defense of, did you this is again did he put a gun to your
well,
head and said,
this might be Diddy. This might be Diddy's lawyers. Um, it should just take a little bit of digging here to see,
but where is the coercion? Where is the coercion? Is there any evidence or information that supports or corroborates some form of coercion? I can't pronounce the fucking word. Coercion of saying, if you don't do these things, your career is done. Right?
right, right,
If she can present that evidence, it can't be hearsay, right? Oh, he told me. Okay, well, yeah, okay, that's inadmissible. It has to be a paper trail, text message, recording, video recording saying, bitch, if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, you're done. So that's coercion, right? But if you are telling me that you've established this relationship, there's good, clear that there's a relationship, you set up these things, and you just didn't have time to be in the studio, well, that's on you.
yeah. I think that was Diddy's lawyers asking the
That got to be the
questions here
defense.
because
Yeah.
the prosecution I don't necessarily think would ask her if she consented at first, or they wouldn't
Right.
necessarily want to be the ones bringing that
Because
information
yeah,
forward.
you'll be defeating your own case.
Yeah, so most definitely, I think that is Diddy's lawyers who did the questioning, but we should have them come back and I guess whenever they come off of recess and continue to give us some more updates on what's going on. Okay, it says they're back. It
Okay.
says 1:16 p.m. They're back. Judge, welcome back. Also, who was your manager at Bad Boy Records? Cassie says James Cruz. Says, what did he tell you? Says that he was managing me with one hand tied behind his back. He had to check everything with Sean. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Let me see if he got. If he
Okay.
got
Can we?
He says,
Your Honor, I would like to summons James Cooley to the stand. I'm telling you, that's
he
coming
says,
next.
how did you make money if your records weren't being released? She says, I did hosting parties when Sean approved them. Mm. He
Sounds
says,
like you were updated. Go ahead. Go ahead.
she says, what comments did Sean make about your physical appearance? She says that I look too Mexican with my hair like that. Holy shit. They gonna paint Diddy as a racist next.
Mm-hmm.
They
Oh,
gonna
they
they
got
gonna
it. They got it all.
so I think he's still loading in some his comments. But yeah, they're still going off, bro. Like they're literally questioning
These are
her
like, yeah. Are you
as
getting
we
like
speak.
live? I'm assuming you're getting like live updates.
These are live updates. This is literally happening right now. This is 2 minutes
Oh
ago.
shit. Oh shit.
1:16. So this is LA time. I'm getting no. This is no. Yeah, this is right now. This is I'm my bad. I'm high and I'm tired. I ain't go to sleep. But yeah, this is 1:16. This is a few minutes ago. Um,
Man.
and yeah, he's updating live right now. So this is this is even bad because I can't even contact my boy until the end of the day, and I can give a little bit more detail of, you know, how everything else is going down and how everything else was said and reactions. But
Dang.
yeah, he is firing off live. So that's all we got from him right now. I'm waiting for him to update again with some more. But yeah, it's going there. So I don't know, man. It's looking like this thing is gonna continue. I'm probably gonna let him cook and let this thing continue to go and build up, and we'll see where it goes from here. Because yeah, I've been running all day, but this shit has been interesting. We got to get y'all and deliver this content for y'all. So
Oh
I know we
yeah.
had
We got.
no, go ahead.
We got to do the same thing for the Drake case, man. If that should go to trial.
Oh yeah, of course. We'll most definitely do the same thing, and we'll definitely, of course, we'll definitely be locked in on that. Yeah, my boys gave their closing statements and stuff like that. As I said here, we're going to be keeping you updated just as we have today, and see what tomorrow yields. I appreciate everybody for stopping in. Again, we're gonna keep you updated with this case here in the Doja Room. Give this video a like if you've been watching and you're watching all the way to the end. Go ahead and give this video a like, give it a repost, share this live stream, and make sure everybody else can get into the conversation as well. All are welcome. Please, if you want to hop into the Doja Room, get into my DMs, and we can make that happen. But yeah, I loved having you guys. I always love having you guys come through as well. So shout out to you guys for coming through. I
Oh, facts.
appreciate that. And
Anytime, brother.
definitely K Mills, definitely appreciate you delivering some medical insight. We're definitely gonna keep you posted for more of that because yeah, as this case goes on, we see we're gonna need a little bit more of that. All right, so yeah, I
Oh yeah,
definitely
for sure.
yeah, I definitely appreciate you on that. All right. So, to all my stoners, hippies, and hip hop enthusiasts, I appreciate you guys for stepping in to the motherfucking Doja Room. I'm your boy, Dope Boy Diesel. Of course, it's been an honor, and we about to be out here. Well, I'm trying to be out here, but my shit is crashing, so we're gonna end it this way. All right. We out.
Right. All right, man.